Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Bruno.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Fahey. I am the COVID kid. I am your host. I'm COVID barely 18. I'm a wretch. I have the disease. No symptoms. No disease. Joining me as ever, prettiest boy under the sun. Very fertile.
Oh.
Gay Blade. The gay walker. Aaron Josephina.
You know, I just want to thank everybody for the outpouring of support during our convalescence.
No, I haven't told them yet.
You are the COVID kid, though.
I am the COVID kid.
Yeah.
Also, to your right, my left, as ever, handsome Matt Brousseau.
Hi. Thank you.
We got the COVID, folks.
We're for real with these antibodies, right?
Yeah. It's we all got it over Christmas. And we told the Patreon subscribers. We haven't told the mainstream freeloaders. Got it. We were all asymptomatic. We all had like one day of weirdness, and we're cool. It was just annoying and depressing.
I was very lucky too.
My favorite part about getting it was knowing I deserve it.
There's that.
Because I'm shit.
Yeah.
God.
But it's nice to know we can just like go to Vegas now. And
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
drink pond water outside.
Oh my God! Yeah, me and
on
Aaron.
Bourbon Street.
Me and
New
Aaron.
Orleans.
Me and Aaron were talking about. Imagine like who's like at the bar at the casino.
Oh, I know. Just
Imagine
the people.
We want to get shirts that just say "We already had it."
Yeah.
There's probably people who already, like, a friend of mine's from the Cleveland area, and he's like, yeah, everybody I know there has it, and then they go to parties, and they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. We already all got it.
God.
This is not helping.
Yeah.
This is not helping.
Yeah.
So we were lucky.
We were lucky.
No issues.
Yeah. Our fun roommate had issues. That was
Pretty fucked up here
bad.
in LA.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Stay safe out there. Don't get it.
Yeah, it's the anxiety was honestly the worst part for me.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I guess.
I gotta send a shout out to our friend Morgan in the Detroit area. She wanted me to say something along the lines of like she's the only fan that matters or something. I'm not gonna say that.
I say that all fans matter.
Yeah. That's
boy.
not controversial at all.
Yikes.
Shout out to Morgan's baby also listening.
Oh, yo, baby, what's up?
Sorry, your mom won't teach you to read. Baby's illiterate. It's so
What?
sad. So sad.
Has it even tried?
I don't know if it's trying or not.
Pull yourself up by your book straps.
Listening, yeah.
Book straps?
Book straps. My nice new backpack. This is a... another shout out to Harry Moore on Patreon.
Yeah,
he was
Harry,
sending
great
us some
comments.
great shit.
Yeah.
I can't wait to dive into some of that.
Oh, yeah. What a glorious
as always,
mess.
getting involved with the Patreon, folks. We do another episode a week there. But we haven't been doing anything because we all had to fucking quarantine and shit. So sorry about the absence. We are back. Check us out on the old, what's you call it? Instagram. Yeah, no. Our parlor is super slow right now.
Yeah, it's weird. No one's responding. But it's all backed up, I hear. It's all archived.
Once we said we have COVID there, they called us liars.
Yeah. The truthers came out.
Instagram, Profiles in Eccentricity, PP Podcast on Twitter, and always ding bells and click shit on...
Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah.
If we don't get deplatformed.
We're talking about on YouTube, of course. Also, one thing, as of today, I believe our Etsy store is open.
We have an Etsy store.
So you can get the shirts there. I can announce the new shirts are the... Oh, I forgot to bring you your shirt.
Oh, man.
These are nice. the Hard Pipe Hitters Club shirts designed by Me and the Men Singers and Joe, they got there. I had Joe make them a special limited edition.
Oh, beautiful! It has no holes. It has holes where the pits are. So
No. I just wrote Men Swingers Club on the blowtorch.
Nice.
So yeah, you can get all the shirts. The piss shirt isn't uploaded yet, but I think Joe's putting those like today.
And
something.
for only $100 extra, we will pee on the shirt and send it to you.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
I just thought of that. I didn't run that by them, but I knew you guys were up for it. So
I've been doing it
okay.
Yeah.
to mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can tell.
It's how they used to launder them.
That's
Still do.
right. Then check that out.
In ancient Rome.
History of the World, Part 1 and Number 1.
Yeah.
Great callback there, John.
Yeah. We should get into it because we are tackling the second half of Kid Dynamite.
That's right.
Baddest man in the world?
Baddest man on the planet?
Baddest man on the planet.
Iron
Mike Tyson.
That's right. When last we left Mike, he had Cuss had died. Cuss, his mentor, trainer, father figure, and then a legal father.
Yeah, guardian.
Cuss D'Amato had died, and he had plowed through his last few fights to defeat Trevor Berbick as and become the youngest heavyweight champion.
Is that where we're? I should have listened back.
No, the first time works too. I mean, it was a long time ago. You got COVID, neurological symptoms.
fog,
Honestly, I had to reread everything too.
So he beats Berbick.
Yeah, and he at 20 years old, he's the youngest heavyweight champion of the world.
And what is that? 88.
Yeah. Let's know. I think it's earlier than that.
What's with you in 88?
Yeah. Did you write that in your Turner diaries?
Well, because it's not.
Yeah, this was 1987.
Okay. And by 86, he had already used the phrase that he tries to punch people.
With bad intentions?
No, that he wants to hit him push the nose up into their brain.
Oh, yeah,
By
yeah.
86, he had already. I was watching a thing about his fights, and a Pittsburgh reporter said that Mike Tyson was the most astonishingly scary force he had ever seen in the ring, and then he said that his editor wouldn't let him put Tyson's quote about pushing the nose into the brain.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let him use that.
And he was taking it from an older fighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, not the quote, but the idea.
The nose. He took the nose.
And I remember kids growing up talking about that. Oh, if you hit somebody in the nose, it'll push the boat.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Totally.
Yeah, it was like, schoolyard urban legend bro science.
Yeah. It's
everybody I was
nonsense.
with wasn't pushing noses into brains.
No.
Yeah. She probably stole it from Dempsey or something.
I know some named Dempsey.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's it.
So now he is officially the baddest man on the planet,
Yeah.
right?
Card carrying.
A phenom. 20 years old, millions of dollars. And all this has paid off. All this hard work, dedication, strife. Rags to riches story. So, and he's showing the belt off. He's wearing it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
He's going out with it.
Oh, that's nice.
He's now, this kid who is from the gutter is now at A-list Hollywood parties.
Right.
He is
I love that.
a folk hero, right? Like he's got stories like where he goes and meets like Ricky Schroeder and Alfonso Ribeiro because they were on Silver Spoons at the time. Alfonso would then go on to be Carlton.
Right.
Ricky Schroeder would then go to post Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse's bail.
Right. It's, everybody takes
Different. It's different strokes for different folks.
It is.
And they're out at this party at this bar, and Rick James shows up, and Rick James had just licensed his sample to MC Hammer for Can't Touch This.
Yeah.
And so now he's back making money again because the riff from Super Freak, and it is exactly. He is exactly who Dave Chappelle and Charlie Murphy say he is.
Yeah.
He's taking Alfonso's drinking a sip, throwing it at him, saying "fuck you, motherfucker." and I'm Rick James. Like
he just walks
it's in the
around
book
doing
saying
that.
he said,
That's
"I'm Rick
his...
James," and then he talks about partying with Charlie and Eddie, a different version of the "fuck your couch" stuff. Like he's corroborating the whole nine. Mike also now, he was a man of extremes, right? Extreme dedication, early drug and alcohol use. Later would go on to be diagnosed bipolar. So he's this guy who is a glutton in every way, and before he had been, except for the one girl he had sex with at the Junior Olympics. That he was a virgin up until he was like 18, 19. And now he's 20 years old, the heavyweight champion in the world,
Right.
multi-millionaire, hanging out with celebrities, parties, access, right?
Tight bod.
And he's like, dude, I had no standards. If a girl was there and wanted to, I was doing it.
Oh God, he was doing dudes at the Special Olympics probably.
No. Hey, why not?
I don't believe in gender, so
Do you believe in specialness?
yes,
I mean,
do.
it's the
You're all
It's
very
the-
special.
You're
the
all
Olympic
very
Village.
special. Now please go home.
It's widely known. It's they don't say which Olympic Village, but the Olympic Village is widely known
Yeah,
as
every Olympic
every
village,
Olympic
even the
village.
Special Olympic Village is known.
Oh
as,
yeah, well, and they're all juicing too.
yeah. Just one,
Cardboard boxes.
one you just want reproducing, right?
oh boy.
Which one?
All of them.
Okay, all right.
So he's having like just calling girls up, fucking them with his belt on.
No.
Yeah,
that
Dude,
makes
bringing
sense.
the belt with you is so tight. It makes me think I heard about after 3-6 wins the Oscar. Juicy J was saying, he's like, I always had it with me in a duffel bag.
That's smart.
He's like,
Smart.
what else?
Chopping up coke with it.
Oh, dude,
it's heavy.
The other shit in that duffel bag is definitely like purple drink and
Yeah.
like
8 heads.
but like why would you need to take it out for any reason
Oh,
whatsoever?
sorry. This is just my Academy Award.
So
table for
he's
two.
fucking girls with the belt on of any kind of look.
Oh, he's like
ability.
He's like fat girls, ugly girls, tall girls, Chinese girls. He's like if they were down, I was down. I was making up for lost time. I'm a man of extremes. I have no standards. I would have sex with like models at parties, and I'd go back to New York and fuck gutter rap.
Is Chinese the only race he specifies?
Yeah.
Chinese.
No, he later specifies Japanese.
Oh, neat.
Balance your race.
No.
He would he liked making sex tapes.
Really?
Oh no.
He would
Even with the Japanese
some
girls?
were hidden, some were not, but like he'd just like put up the camera, have girls come, and he'd like have one of his guys in the closet watching.
Oh God, that's bad.
And they started calling him the womb crusher.
That's not a good name.
No, you don't. No. But
He goes from Iron Mike to the Womb Crusher.
well, that's what his guys started calling
Yeah,
him.
those
But he was
guys.
very sexual. Sexually,
he did have no standards.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
oh my God, dude.
That's a terrible name.
It's a brilliant.
And he would like hide
not a
him.
good
He'd
name.
show him, and like sometimes he'd like hide him, or
My womb
sometimes
is ruined. Hey, everybody, come over here. Here's a video of me fucking.
Yeah.
Let's watch it.
Text me. I'll wreck the womb. Is that your list or what do you?
the room looks fine. Right?
I'm an interior decorator.
Kid Dynamite destroys womb. You won't believe what happens next. I titled him.
Yeah, exactly. That's me. My name is Jeff in this one.
So so he's just like he's partying in a way that he had never. It's really the first big blowing off of steam, and really cashing in that
And
access.
dovetailing with grieving costs.
Totally.
And also, all of the people around him weren't going to tell him, "Hey, Mike,
No,
don't go
because
to that party."
they're going.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is where he meets Don King, or is
No, that's it's a little while later. So, but still, like, you win.
At
You
a
win your.
womb crusher party. Hey Don.
So now he's 20 and he's now got his first heavyweight title, and he was the favorite to win. Excuse me, the heavyweight unification series to unify all 3 belts: the WBA, the IBC.
right? Because Ring Magazine had a heavyweight belt,
Right.
and that was I think that guy beat. Who's he fighting?
James Smith.
Spinks? Oh, Smith.
He doesn't fight Spinks till later,
Okay,
but it's James Bone Crusher, not Womb Rupture, Bone Crusher Smith. And so the expectations are high. He's the favorite to win that series, which is to unify these belts. And he beats Bone Crusher Smith by unanimous decision, and so he gets the WBA title along with the other belts. So now he's got 2 belts.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
He beats Pinklin Thomas by TKO in the 6th round a few months later in May of '87. And then August 1st, that same year, '87, he wins the IBF title from Tony Tucker in a 12-round decision, and he becomes the first heavyweight ever to own all 3 belts at the same time.
Jesus.
WBA, WBC, and IBF. Not IBC, I'm sorry.
And well, because his team had a plan. It was like you go from amateurs to pros, and then we know you're the fucking greatest fight we've ever seen, or at least one of them. You're gonna fight these guys to slowly then fight tougher guys to then work your way up to quote earn the title.
Right.
So
you
there's
fight a bunch of quote unquote tomato cans or bums.
Right.
But at this point, he's fighting. I mean, champions. He's got 3.
Yeah.
You know, so they had a very good progression of fighters for him to dominate.
Yeah.
I think his first, was it 9 fights were all knockout wins? I mean, incredible. Another fight, October of '87, another victory for Tyson over Tyrell Biggs, who was the 1984 super heavyweight gold medalist in the Olympics, not Junior Olympics.
Man, that's a hell of a year.
So gets him a TKO in the 7th round. Fights Tyrell Biggs, beats Tyrell Biggs. Fights Larry Holmes, who's got a history with, right? Fights and defeats Larry Holmes. An executive for Nintendo Corporation sees his fight against Larry Holmes. I believe it's this fight against Larry Holmes, and goes, "Oh, we gotta get this guy." And they offer him $750,000 to put his name on a video game for their home Nintendo Entertainment System based on the popular arcade game Punch-Out, and it's called Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and it sells 1 million copies. I had it.
I had it too.
Yeah, everybody had it.
And then I remember when they changed it to Punch Out again when he was in jail.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was weird.
Not as good.
Yeah.
He starts, he's still going to parties a lot because he lives in the Catskills, but he's going into Manhattan all the time. He's got homies in Brownsville, and he's visiting them. So he's living this double life. It's very weird. He dates Naomi Campbell for a little bit, supermodel. Then he meets.
She wouldn't give my cousin an autograph once on a
Naomi
plane.
Campbell? Oh, she's a notorious bitch. She's abusive.
I wouldn't use that word at all, but
I would.
On a plane?
on a plane, yeah.
Was she flying?
I think they were all flying.
Oh,
the
wow.
whole gang.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Weird.
All in the cockpit, flying the plane.
It's the one thing I know about her, and I just have to propagate it.
She's
because-
notorious for like abusing her assistants physically. And stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe she was just having a bad decade. That happens.
It does, absolutely. I think that's valid.
That is some. I said it kind of as an asshole, but it totally happens. I remember, our friend Russell. He's like, Aaron, I've learned this in my 55 years. Sometimes you have whole decades that suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, fuck.
Yeah.
He meets Robin Givens, actress. She was on Head of the Class, a couple other things, and her mother is part of the package deal, Ruth, who Mike calls ruthless. Stage mom par excellence. Very weird situation with Robin and Ruth and Mike. Mike had never been. Robin Givens.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know her? You've seen her.
I know her. I just didn't know if you had really introduced her.
No, not right now. Right now. She was. She had this very wholesome image that said that she went to Harvard Medical School for a bit and then left to do acting.
Yeah.
It's bullshit, right? I think it's none of it was really true. Her mom, they had this shtick. They were just very shrewd business people, and they wanted to use Mike's fame. And Mike was a really naive young boy who had never really had a relationship like that before, and he fell head over heels for her. he says that, the story that Robin and her mom told the media was that, they didn't have sex until they got married. Or I was like, dude, I had sex with her like the second time we met in a hotel room.
Wow.
All about it. Which is cool these days, which is fine.
Depends on the hotel, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call.
But she had.
You have to excuse me. I wrecked the womb.
Womb service, please. It was just that she had this image that she was portraying in the media with the help of her mother. And then there was the reality behind it with the very shrewd business people really digging their claws into Mike. But also Mike was a piece of shit. He was cheating on her all the time. Mm-hmm. And the stress of trying to live up to his fighting potential and expectations, trying to really win the love and respect of this beautiful actress, while also kind of dodging the ire of her mother and cheating on her all the time, living this quadruple life. Yeah. He was dude, the stress was out of control. I was having alopecia. My hair was graying and I'm 21 years old. It was, and he's doing drugs.
Yeah. The drugs probably
it was just helping. A very crazy time. And I don't imagine that he was great to be around either. So I'm not going to sugarcoat that. They get married. And she changes her name to Robin Tyson, and everybody says because that's what she was doing.
Right.
His contract with his current manager and team is expiring, and it's going to be up for negotiation. And this guy Don King is now in the running to scoop up this next contract. And Mike he's the hottest commodity in the field, and he's also feeling, exploited by Robin and Ruth and other people in his close circle. He's depressed because all he has is Camille. There's no more cuss around Camille. His mother cussed his wife or partner. Yeah. And Don was spitting a lot of this, we're black brothers. Nobody understands the struggle we go through type of stuff to him. Don King has been charged with murder twice, served jail time. He's a notorious con man, huge piece of shit, but smooth talker and had a lot of
big man too.
Big dude.
Yeah, big dude.
And big hair. Really could put up more money up front than anybody else could, just in terms of showing that he was connected and had access, and that kind of wooed Mike too.
Yeah, probably giving Mike a lot of free shit.
Giving Mike a lot of free shit up front, but also then stealing from him on the back end.
Of course, yeah. That's how you give free shit to the other people.
So in '88, his marriage with Robin is kind of on the rocks. They do a lot of weird, shady shit I don't want to get into because this is not the point of the story is not the stuff that everybody saw in the media.
Right.
Is the stuff I kind of want to just move past.
Sure.
They can go see that.
Is there anything you just want to list? Just
or one example?
They went on 2020.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Barbara Walters thing.
A lot of weird media shit.
Yeah, and it was just he got blindsided by Robin.
While sitting next to her.
Yeah. And just
I remember that interview.
I get really scared, and sometimes he can really, he doesn't hit me, no, but he'll shake me or throw me around the room. And Mike's like, I wanted to kill her in that moment because I never laid a hand on her. I grew up with women. I am a piece of shit, but I never hit women.
Right.
And he just a lot of weird, just put him on blast. Without any,
it's hard to watch.
Yeah, it's fucked up. And later, 20 years later, Oprah talks about that with him. It's why did you let that happen? He's like, I was in love, and and he was getting back. He was they took him to another psychiatrist, put him on more Librium or something, or Thorazine. They got him back on pills again. It's a fucked up situation. And everything was starting to not fall apart, but become disordered, more chaos, uncertainty, management, relationships, all sorts of stuff for him. He fired Kevin Rooney, his trainer, left Bill Clayton, and that's when he got hooked up with Don King.
Right, cuts all ties to
the people that made him, and not that they didn't have their issues before.
Sure.
Because he had some very the management they were taking 30% cuts of his purses and splitting that amongst people. So,
but Rooney was the last Cuss acolyte.
Right.
He was the guy who knew Cuss's boxing system better than anybody else, and he was training Tyson in it.
Yeah.
And after he left Rooney, people noticed that
The technique and stuff.
the technique changed. He wasn't bobbing and weaving as much. It wasn't like the head
Peekaboo.
move. Yeah. And the combos weren't there as much, but also he was still head and shoulders above everybody else.
On sheer power,
Yeah.
alone, He's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
But the technical thing was also just incredible. And like we said, in the first episode, he always had, the will to learn and the ability to, the desire to carry out those kind of combos and really learn like the perfect technique. It's just a thing you don't think about Mike Tyson ever getting hit.
No.
It's not an image you can really see in your mind compared to any other famous boxer.
Yeah.
Right. But when you watch the fights, he died.
He's not Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was so good at
what he's known
dodging
for.
and then in the same move
Responding
with a three punch combo.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the thing. They always in the fights. They always go. They always say that he throws 2 or 3 punches instead of 1.
Yeah.
They always say that in every fight.
Yeah.
It seems like.
So in 89, he only had 2 fights during this time of turmoil, right? He fought Frank Bruno in February, where Tyson got stunned at the end of the first round, but Tyson came back and knocked him out in the 5th. And then in July of 89, he fought Carl the Truth Williams and knocked him out in the first round. And then
what do you?
I have to think about Undisputed Truth.
then
That's the title of the Mike Tyson book, folks.
that's one of them. He's got a few others out now.
Yeah?
I think he's got 3. So then he's got this fight booked with Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
It's in Tokyo, the Tokyo Dome.
Right.
I mean, gigantic.
Yeah.
Gigantic. He goes to Tokyo and he's like,
All kinds of Nintendo guys there.
oh, dude, everyone's a Nintendo.
But by this point, he has beaten Spinks.
Yeah, he's beaten Michael Spinks, and that was another like solidifying his space in history.
Yeah. So Spinks had the ring. So there was one more heavyweight belt, which was the ring belt, Ring Magazine, I think it was, and they had. So Spinks had beaten the guy who beat Holmes,
Right.
to take that, and then Spinks had that title. Tyson beats him, and I think the guy I was reading said it looked like a man against a preteen.
Yeah.
Even though Spinks was taller,
It was 91 seconds.
Yeah.
Spinks was taller, bigger,
Yeah.
and had a mustache.
Yeah. And Mike could not drink yet.
Yeah.
I think he was, but it was. The critics thought it was going to be like this incredible epic fight. It ended in a minute and a half.
They were like, finally, Spinks is the guy who can do it, and
This was Mike at the top of his game.
Yeah.
And so then he has to fight Buster Douglas, and Mike is partying super hard. He's doing a lot of drugs, drinking a lot, and kind of like not giving a shit. And he's got all this personal turmoil with Robin and her mom, and also her sister, and they're forcing him to like sign all these weird contracts. Like, and they even want him like he was snowed in the Catskills one time before the Tokyo fight. And he was like, "Oh, I can't make it to this thing today." And they're like, "Oh no, we'll send a car, and so that you can sign this paperwork." And it was because like, I think it was Jay was like dying of cancer, and they were like signing over his portion of his cut to his family so that he would get it. It was like weird. He was just getting mad exploited, and so he was really paranoid and kind of was. This is when he starts to fall out of love with boxing and just being a cash cow.
yeah, and well, because boxing now has all these other things attached to it.
Right. So the Buster Douglas fight, he's not like super in shape for. He's still badass, but he's not super fit. And he's going like I don't know if you've ever heard of when like Americans go to Japan and they're like, "Oh, I'm like," especially like Black American athletes go to Japan. It's like they're deities.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
At least especially like in the 80s and 90s.
No. Even now, and same thing in China too. They're like, they'll they have this quote obsession.
Yeah.
With black people.
If you're
It's like,
black,
take a
you're
picture.
Shaq.
Yeah.
or you're
Right.
oh.
Yeah.
Because we all look alike, right? Americans. And he was talking. I mean, he just talks about the hotel. Like he's like the maids would come in and like I didn't even ask to have sex with them, and they just were like, it's like I wouldn't have sex. I was having sex with all the maids all the time,
Oh my god.
every night,
Oh my god.
and like
Hotel was this?
Tokyo
Hilton?
hotel.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And so then he loses to Buster Douglas. It's one of the most like shocking upsets.
Yeah, but I mean, Buster was he was a good fighter, but everybody
It shouldn't have happened.
it was the biggest upset in the history of boxing.
Yeah. And so he leaves Tokyo and he's kind of out of love with boxing, and he's with Don King, and Don's still talking talking big game, promoting him and stuff like that. And he comes to LA and he's just hanging out with celebrities, and this is where he meets Iceberg Slim.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about meeting Iceberg, and he would have Rory and Don King go with him, and they'd like sit on the floor of Berg's apartment and like raise Mr. Berg and like raise their hands like
Excuse me?
kindergartners and shit. And he would just tell them stories and like lay the pimp rap on them. And it's not the first time somebody would tell Mike that like, oh man, you are trying too hard to please everybody. Like,
Meanwhile, Don King's sitting there going,
shut the fuck up, Berg. Shut the fuck up. Like,
he's waving American flags while he does it.
Put your hand down, Rory.
Then Mike goes to Indiana, and he has sex with the Miss Black Indiana, Desiree Washington. She accuses him of rape. We could talk about the trial for a whole episode. The issues with the trial, his problems. He could have faced 60 years. He gets convicted in March of 92, and he's sentenced to 6 years of prison along with 4 years of probation.
And now, what do you think makes it look like he did not commit the crime?
There wasn't a strong case that he did. There was no more physical evidence. One Mark Shaw, who was the legal analyst for I think USA Today and CNN, wrote a whole book about how the trial was used to make an example of Mike.
Was the trial in Indiana?
It was in Indiana. One thing, Mike hired Alan Dershowitz, red flag, as one of his lawyers. And then he also had a federal guy represent him as opposed to a local Indiana guy.
Right.
And this is just what part of the reasons he was convicted. They sent it instead of the DA didn't have a I want to say the local DA did not have a solid enough case to even bring it to an indictment, so they sent it to a grand jury to indict him. He said he almost didn't charge it, but he was under pressure from certain people locally to do it. Mike had the image of a violent thug, savage, and this was Miss Black Indiana, Desiree Washington, 18 years old. And that's what they played up in the trial.
What do you think looks damning towards him in the case, if anything?
Who he was.
That's really all you think is
she had this sucks. They had like a giant picture of her fucking vagina up, like they showed it to the courtroom because she had small abrasions on the inside of her vagina, very small ones. One person said that they've never seen this outside of a rape case. One doctor said like it can happen all the time, and they almost like put Mike's dick up on like a poster board too to show that like it's very possible that you can.
Now, this is how a dick goes.
There were inconsistencies with her testimony to different people.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that saw them interact beforehand, she said stuff like, there's a rape shield law. There was implied consent at the time, meaning like if you were with somebody for an amount of time at a certain amount of time, you kind of are implying consent.
Yeah, that's not a good law.
She went to the bathroom, removed her panty liner. I'm just kind of rattling off stuff I remember. I don't want to like victim blame anything.
Of course not. No.
That's kind of that's part of the reason I want to skip it, because like I'm not a legal analyst. I'm only really getting Mike and Mark Shaw's version of the case, other than what I remember from the time.
Mm-hmm.
She also later you would find out that this wouldn't be the first time she accused somebody of rape and they totally denied it. And there were timelines where you find out that she lost her virginity on this date and time, and then her dad was a real asshole, and other people said like, oh, if her dad ever found out this, that it'd be like hell for her. And so like the timeline of her last rape accusation lined up with when she lost her virginity, and the guy was like, I never even touched this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What else? The guy, one of the prosecutors. The prosecutor even said, I still don't know why Mike. I don't. He didn't understand that you could eat a pussy for 20 minutes.
Mike,
the prosecutor?
The prosecutor.
Yeah,
Well,
like he's like, who rapes somebody, eats their pussy for 20 minutes? And Mike said, if you want to read about it. It's just, this is like the least interesting part of like it.
Well, it's one of the most famous parts of the life of Mike Tyson.
Right.
Yeah.
This is why like you skipped Watergate for Nixon.
Sure.
And I'm skipping this for him because you can go do your own research on that.
Sure. But the end result
is what is consequential.
Yeah.
He was convicted and sentenced to 6 years, along with 4 years of probation. They sent him to the Indiana Youth Center, which is a medium-level security prison or center that was designed in the 60s for like rich white kids and non-violent offenders and drug offenders. But by this time in 92, the prison system in the state was so overcrowded that they started putting in more criminals.
Cool.
Adult offenders, usually non-violent and drug offenders. It was
Good
like
system.
I think that place was 90% white at the time he went in.
I mean, it just sounds like a place that really wants to arrest people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they were. Maybe we can get to some of that later. They in his dorm, basically, not necessarily a cell, but kind of a cell, kind of a dorm. They paired him up with a guy, Wayno, who was a veteran guy.
Wayno.
Yeah, Wayno.
Nice.
And he was a guy who was in there for rape.
Oh God.
And he was like, and he told Mike like, dude, I know you didn't do it. I know you didn't do it. You want to know how I know? Because I did it. But like he would get visited by...
Wait, what?
Is this Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah. He would get visited by the woman that he raped because he totally...
Wayno did.
Yeah. And they hashed it out. And so he was a guy that they thought would help Mike out in terms of showing him the ropes, the fact that he can be reformed and kind of keep him out of trouble.
Uh-huh.
So that's why they put Wayno in with him.
And did they start a jail boxing league?
No.
Okay.
He also he started reading Mike's mail with him, and he was like, Mike, you're like kind of because Mike got a shit ton of mail.
Mm.
Oh, I bet being his fucking roommate, man, that must have been the most interesting time of his life.
So he started helping Mike read. He's like, Mike, you got to read these better because people are like giving you like signals that they're trying to help you out. But in a month and a half, Mike had $100,000 in his commissary account. People sending him money, sending him gifts, sending him jewelry.
Man, he could buy a lot of Cheetos.
Later,
Yeah.
he would have to get a new cell because he was getting so much mail.
Jesus.
They just throw it in the cell and then you have to back away from it.
He was like, dude, his buddy was like, don't be shocked by anything you see in here. You see somebody stabbing somebody, don't be shocked. Don't say shit. Don't hang out with those guys over there. Don't talk to those cops over there. If you see me sucking somebody's dick or fucking somebody's ass, don't be shocked. I'm not saying I'll do it, but don't be shocked. This is prison. He got into a shouting match with a guard about some shit because Mike was still like really angry and he wanted to make sure nobody thought he was weak.
Yeah, of course.
And then it kind of got into this like weird little racial Aryan Brotherhood, black, like this. And it
He joined the Aryan Brotherhood.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And he became their leader.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Aaron, what?
And so then he gets sent down to the hole.
Ooh.
Solitary. And that's a 6 by 9 foot room. 23-hour day lockdown. The light is always on. And he was like, you know what? It wasn't all that bad because I could control my environment there. I didn't have to. I didn't have to deal with other people.
Yeah. Well, you can crush the balloon.
Yeah, and it's so small. And then after these few months that he's there, more information comes out about Desiree Washington. She did some unscrupulous deals with civil lawyers and publishers before she ever like took the case to court with her lawyers. Like she made book deals and deals with civil lawyers for civil case. Like it was just this.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
It's not this summer's hottest look.
It's not. Jurors from his case. They also like they there was like one black juror, and then that guy had a lead. Like so, then it ended up being just like
and he had a swastika tattoo.
It wasn't his, but he had it.
Multiple jurors started to go public with their doubts on the verdict after new information came to light after he was convicted.
Yeah.
New
New shit's come to light.
That's right.
Yeah.
Multiple jurors. There were God, it was Greta Van Susteren. Was it Greta or there were a few like TV specials about like
family?
new shit come to light. Was this an unfair trial?
Greta Van Susteren, new shit has come to light.
They made Mike take the stand and stuff. It was weird when he shouldn't have, and it was just giving them an opportunity to make him look bad. Like you would never take the case. No.
I performed cunnilingus on it for over 20 minutes.
Come on,
you ever
man.
do that, prosecutor?
You ever felt a tongue pop in between these two teeth?
Hey,
That feels nice.
Hey, prosecutor?
On your private.
If we want to get into it in the Patreon, we can get into the nitty gritty of.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
That's the perfect idea. And
is it a great idea?
I think it is a great idea.
You be the judge.
And you know what I think is a very nice idea right now? Let's take a little break.
Hey,
Take a
ding ding.
Take a handsome little break.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Are you?
I am.
Hell yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back.
Ding ding ding.
So now,
Isn't it just ding?
now he's in prison.
That's right.
He's risen to the top of the Aryan Nation. But no, he does really get into Islam in there.
He was introduced to Islam before, but like yes, later in prison he will
He's reading a lot.
dabu. But he starts with help from Wayno and a few other guys. He starts learning how you can game, well, at least monetize or capitalize on your fame. So, you know, he's getting people are sending so much money to him, fans.
Yeah.
He has to like open another account under somebody else's name, and so that Wayno can get in on it. I mean, it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars in his commissary account, so he doesn't have to eat fucking bullshit food. Yeah. Girls are sending him naked pictures,
Of course.
so he starts selling those.
That's oof.
And he would like ask for a certain type. He'd do like custom like OnlyFans shit. Like, what do you want to see, homie?
Yeah.
In the next fucking cell block, I'll get this one.
Hey, Mike, you got any bearded gals?
Sure, man. We got a few of them.
This one looks like the devil, man.
He's the best supplier to the Aryan Nation. He's probably Mike would like call people out on the outside and have girls do phone sex stuff and then charge guys in to like listen to it by the minute. Yeah, really fucking just. I mean, he was a hustler. Like,
You believe this shit, Wayno? She's nasty.
There are people who are committing crimes to get into prison with him.
Yo, man, you got to get sent to Indiana Youth Correctional, man. The phone sex is off the hook, literally.
This guy's got hundreds of thousands in Funyuns.
Have you heard of Wayno?
And so his roommate would have connections to the Aryan dudes that they worked the kitchen, and they would smuggle in stuff and then get it to them. So like other guys are eating, glizzies in the commissary.
They're glomming the glizzies?
They're glomming bad glizzies though, man. Mike would be eating pizza, Chinese food, KFC, White Castle, like whatever.
Hell yeah.
They could, like, if they gave him a couple
White
days
Castle.
notice, they could have like
Well, it is the Aryan Nation.
Yeah.
yeah. He was like, dude, it was kind of like this, Mike's version of Goodfellas prison time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also sounds like he can't escape the celebrity, but it's also unlike when he was out and everybody was hounding him and stealing shit from him. He's actually appreciated by every single person.
Yeah,
that he's dealing with.
There were times where there was a lot of like "fuck you, you pigeon fucking motherfucker" stuff to him, but like he was so.
They brought up the pigeons?
Yeah.
He probably brought it up in like writing class or
But
something.
he's famous. He's famous in prison.
Oh, it's in the articles. Of course, he's famous.
And he's eating great.
Yeah. Pizza Hut.
But he's like, dude, it's like the one thing I couldn't get. Like, he's like, I wasn't smoking, I wasn't drinking in prison, I wasn't doing drugs, even though I could have. But like, he's like, I needed to get laid because he got used to having sex
Being
so
a
much,
fuck
right?
machine.
And he's like, fucking, 22 peak. 23.
So he probably starts taking it out on Wayno.
There's no mates.
Extreme close up. It's Wayne's World now, man.
Wayno.
So
I used to drink
Drano.
I got a taste
Now
for
the
that.
role the reversed, man.
Now I got a taste for you too. Up against the wall.
Hi. So like he he would just like get up on the
Wall.
So he was just like, come on, man. He would like tell guards like, I need to fuck now. I will fuck literally anything. And he would tell a guard, and he'd be like, I'll fuck her. Will that guard fuck me? I'll give $1,000 right now. And like the guards would be like, are you serious? Because I can make that happen. But then like Wayno and a couple other guys are like, Mike, you are being a savage right now. And
really?
You're gonna get in fucking mad trouble. Like, calm
But it
down.
was a female guard.
Yeah.
But she looked like Brando or something though.
I mean, what if you're into that? Drano,
That's what I'm saying.
Drano,
I tell you,
Brando.
Brando was into it.
He was big time.
Wayno, Brando, Drano, Bruno. It's all old.
Everything's a no.
So, but he had people there that seemingly genuinely wanted to see him get out and fight again, and so they're like, "Yo,
Yeah, everybody in there's rooting for him.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
I guess it's crazy."
Yeah, it's something.
And so people.
Yeah, I mean, but also on the outside too, there was,
I mean, there was huge support for him on the outside.
No, I know, and there was just a lot of people being like, it's such a shame that in these years we can't see what he could do in the ring. It's like
It's not the same, but it's similar to Ali being blacklisted.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's definitely different.
It's definitely different.
definitely different.
But there are cases like this through his, like Ted Williams being in the war during his years, like when he was hitting 400.
Right.
Oh, by the way, just non sequitur, not totally non sequitur, but did you see that they are merging all the records from the Negro Leagues to the MLB?
Yeah, and they did. Yeah,
That's
they
so
did it.
fucking cool.
It's great. It's about time. Yeah.
Oh, they're all changed now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Kudos.
Hey, great. It's great for Josh Gibson
Negroes.
and Satch.
Yeah, that was the first person I thought about was Satch. What was he called? What was his moniker? Second class hero, second class legend.
Right.
Second class god. I don't remember. So
It was a good title though.
It was a great.
Thank you.
Second class deity or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you look up our
Look up the episode on Satchel Paige. It's a great.
I honestly, I didn't realize how long ago we did episodes. Every time I look, I go,
It's been a number of years.
It's been 3.
Holy shit.
Oh, 3.5.
Gosh.
We should just feel good to grow old and get COVID with you boys.
That's what I said.
Yeah. I mean, years from now, it'd be like, the long-term effects.
Well, we're all dying together.
Still talking about calm.
Blame it on the COVID.
Kid.
It stunned us. So he still needed to get sex, but there are better ways to do it than offering to pay male guards to pimp out female guards.
Yeah, that kind of thing keeps you in jail.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't want to get. But so there was this.
Pimping them out too for the most. Like,
There was-
this guy's willing to give you $300.
So he would see how other guys did it. Like there was another guy in prison who he would have like this woman would visit him, and it was like, oh, it's his wife, and she was pregnant, but he had been in prison for years.
Brilliant.
And everybody was like, "Oh, you're okay with your wife getting pregnant with all these other guys, and you're fucking kissing her on the mouth and shit, in the visiting room." And he just played it off, but he would tell Mike like, "Oh, dude, I've got like 4 kids with her. Like those are my kids." And I was like, "How you do it?" And so he told them all these ways of like, you get them to wear crotchless panties, turn their sundress that had the buttons in the back, like you have them turn that around to the front, and then you go to this part, and then you could just like,
Oh my God.
just improv, just the wonderful adaptability of the human reproductive system.
Right. Those two are dancing.
Yeah, they're dancing in the yard. She's leaking, or she's sweating from her inner thigh.
Huh.
Sir. So he hears that he can get in some time shaved off his sentence if he completes his drug counseling program. That if you graduate successfully, and so he does that. And this woman runs the program. She's the drug counselor. And so Mike, he spits a little bit of like whispering game at her, like, how's everything going with you, your life and all that stuff. And she's like, he was like, oh, dude, her Get Outside came out. She was like this big black lady and young and all that stuff. But normally, I guess he didn't have standards, but he was like, she wasn't like a hot piece of ass in prison, but her ghetto side came out, he said, and she was like, yo, don't fuck with me, man. I can ruin your life. I can put more time on your sentence. Do not fuck with me. Like, do you understand what you're in a cage? Like,
was he fucking her?
No. He started spitting some game. Like, how can I help you? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Perhaps maybe some munchos.
You ever have
combos? Have you ever?
Combos?
I am rich. I am stacked with combos in my cell.
I actually started doing less combos in the ring.
And I replaced them with the cheddar combos from 7-Eleven. So, anyways, but he's like, no, seriously, I can't help you if this job is not helping you out enough. And like, then she tells him like, oh, there's fucking, my roof is leaking and my baby's crying, like all this shit.
Well,
and so like,
my roof is leaking and the baby's crying.
Basically.
Can the baby read is the thing.
No.
God,
they can't even fix the
like
roof.
he sends some dude on the outside. It's like, there's going to be a package to your house tomorrow. And there was like a package with like 10 G's to fix her roof. And like the next day she came back, she's like, hello, Mr. Tyson. And she like, she's approaching him differently because without the promise of anything, and he does just do it, knowing that he probably, with the hopes of getting some. Of course. I'm not saying he's a.
It's a down payment.
A philanthropist.
She start fucking his.
Dude.
I've seen the movie.
They start fucking all the time.
No.
He stays late after class because she can just tell them like, we have to work a little bit more on some of his problems, and so like, fucking all the
You
time.
gotta work on your speech impediment. You gotta learn to start.
And he's like,
whistling between those teeth.
He's like,
Never use verbs.
He's like, it's really good that I had been lifting weights and training because she was a big girl.
No, that's nice.
I'm sure they both enjoyed that.
Yeah. Then she got pregnant.
No.
Yeah, so he had to send her to an abortion clinic, which was like in Indiana at the time. Like, I don't know, you gotta fucking like get your whole family tree to sign off on it.
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
But then so like
Hey,
then he realizes like, okay, this is a lot. Like I kind of am indulging myself a little bit too much. So he just dives into training.
Really?
Yeah. He got visited by Camille, D'Amato, and Jay.
Is that where the fuck is Don King in all this? Is he like...
He showed up a couple he did show up, but it's better that he didn't. But like he would get, and I'll round back to what I was getting at, but like a lot of people would write Mike, like I said. One of those people was Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
Holy
Listen up,
shit.
true believers. Excelsior.
Really? What the fuck was he talking about?
Comics.
Dude, he sent him like, and I think I found it.
Iron Man.
A drawing of Mike and Stan and like the X-Men and shit.
Damn.
And signed it. And it was like one of Mike was always into comics.
Yeah, really liked Apocalypse.
So yeah, so Mike, when Jay and Camille would come, Jay and Mike would have conversations about like who was a more badass motherfucker, Apocalypse or Galactus, and like I forgot the quote, but like back in one of his earlier fights, Mike would say like, "How dare these mere mortals approach me with their primitive skills?"
Yeah,
and that's an Apocalypse quote.
That's sick.
But like Jay was like, "Listen, Mike, Galactus eats planets. What you're not good like he's
No,
better.
but Mike's a little guy. You know, compared to the heavyweights, he's 5'11".
Right. So he identified with, Apocalypse and the whole survival of the
also,
fittest
he
thing,
said the
but Galactus eats planets.
Saying the Apocalypse thing with a lisp is
How dare
different.
these mortals approach me with their primitive skills?
Yeah.
Don King would show up.
Greatest in the world.
Wow, I love this prison.
Only in America would 3 million black men be incarcerated. Malcolm X's widow, Betty Shabazz, would show up. Maya Angelou would showed up. James Brown showed up, and Mike was like, James Brown is worse than Don King. He's like, James Brown tried to like sell me on being my manager and taking 35%.
James Brown goes, now, Mike, I just heard about this. I just learned about this.
It's
thing.
a man's world.
It's called,
Don King was like,
it's called doggy style.
Oh God.
I gotta tell you something.
Now, missionary. I've done missionary for 50 years.
It's something the new kids are doing. The kids are doing. The new kids on the block invented it. Apparently, it's the right stuff, and it's a funky Christmas. Donnie Wahlberg.
Nixon. Donnie Wahlberg.
So he starts. Anyway, so he's got a little bit of a support system by people showing up and he's got, I guess, in solidarity, right?
Yeah.
So he does start training more. Tupac visited him, and Tupac was probably
Really?
his age at the time, even younger.
Wow.
Maybe Tupac must have been.
I would
20?
imagine Tupac's younger a
So
little bit.
Tupac was 97, right? Or 90, and he was
When
20,
he died?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was 27. So right around they're around the
okay.
same age.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
So what is he doing then? Is he like in fucking Digital Underground then, or is
he would? I think he had just got like Digital Underground. So this is now 93, 94. So he had done the 8 bars on the Digital Underground track, but like.
now I hang around in the underground?
Yeah, and
So
he was
good.
like, dude, he was just like, he was so smart and such a revolutionary. We talk about his mom being the Black Panthers and stuff, and then he's
all
like,
going
dude,
to
Tupac,
Indiana.
we went out in the yard, and Tupac was like, yo, man, we're gonna do an impromptu concert right here. Like Tupac got on the table, and he was like, Pac, please get down, man, you're gonna get me in trouble. Like, and he almost started like a fucking riot.
Because the Aryans couldn't handle it.
No, I think they liked it.
yeah,
Loved
they
it.
always do. They're just embarrassed for themselves.
He did the anal gun thing where he's like, get up here, you fucking wiggers.
So
A guard fell off an escalator.
So he's
Did Humpty come to visit him?
yeah, he was wearing a disguise. Funny enough, but
he fell off a wall.
I just got out of a Burger King bathroom.
Kirkabing. He dressed like Groucho
I
Marx.
shitted and cummed on the floor.
We haven't seen each other in 3 weeks.
It's been a minute, guys. Yeah, he just had to take off those glasses and nose. And nobody recognized it.
I like to think about Tupac talking to Mike about it. He's like, yeah, I'm splitting up with Digital, Humpty's still doing the nose thing, which is off-putting.
I find it anti-Semitic.
It's silly.
If Groucho was still alive.
I love fucking Humpty.
So he's now like starting to get used to. I mean, he's been in institutions before, right? But he's started getting used to it again. His current situation, and he starts like psyching himself out, like doing like what Cuss would do to him, and doing the apocalypse speeches to himself, and just getting like you're ferocious. You throw punches with bad intentions. It's your destiny to overcome this adversity
It's
and
the rhythm of his training.
reclaim your rightful place.
Yeah.
Alexander the Great type of shit.
Yeah.
But then he'd still like sometimes like the fucking guards would just lock him out of the gym just to fuck with him.
Fucked
Yeah.
up.
And he was just like, I would just train by running in the yard for hours, jumping rope, doing push-ups and sit-ups. And then so he started getting letters from Reuben Carter, the Hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
who famously went to prison under.
Just listen to Bob Dylan's song.
Yeah, or watch the Denzel motion picture.
That's the
James
story.
Scott, who was another boxer who actually like did a lot of fighting in prison and then got out and was some shit. And they told him like, man, you're not shitting unless you could do 100 push-ups in a clip. And so he read that and he was like, all right. And so I trained for a few weeks until I could do that, and then I could do 500 sit-ups in a clip.
What's a clip?
In a row.
Gotcha.
And that was there.
100 push-ups in a row is
100
pretty
push-ups
good.
in a row, especially if you're like 225 pounds. It's
Yeah.
And he wrote him back and he was like, yeah,
I do that now.
I do that now. And he's like, dude, I would do sit-ups until my ass bled. He would have Wayno
from
sit
the
on his
floor.
feet, and he's like, I do sit-ups until my ass bled 500 a time.
Jesus Christ.
He'd wake up early in his
People pay
cell
for that.
and jog in his cell in circles or in place
Yeah.
for hours. And he would be like, Wayno would wake up and it'd be, the walls would be dripping
Yeah.
from steam. Shadow boxing. He'd be shadow boxing. He's like, I'd be shadow boxing, and everybody be watching me, and like, everyone's an expert. You got to duck, Mike. You got to. He's like,
Watch out for your shadow, Mike.
He's coming for you.
He's going to tag you.
He would sometimes just get himself checked into the hole,
So he could.
just so he could just train on his own. He
Without the peanut gallery?
Yeah, no one questioned me.
he said that he wore out the concrete, and the divots are still there from him jogging.
Every time
running
they
in
put
place,
someone
from
in
him
the
running
hole,
in place.
Every time they put someone in the hole, they say, "Look at this is where Mike Tyson was."
Yeah.
Now stay.
Well, that was the thing, like I said before, Bronson wrote that book, Your Body is the Gym.
Yeah.
It was all based on being stuck in solitary and just, positioning your weight in different ways to work different muscles in a fucking, 6x9 room.
And strangely, when you have such tight spaces, you can position yourself in weird ways to isolate different muscle
You're
groups.
using the walls.
Yeah, using the
too.
walls and like, all right, I can get my fucking lower trap by putting my legs up all this fucking, weird positions.
Well, I just learned something about this thing called heavy hands with walking, where you can carry weights, but you can do it without weights. If you just want to keep your heart rate up while you're walking, you do all of these presses with your arms.
Isometric stuff, right?
Yeah, and it raises your heart rate to almost if you were jogging. It's just a way to, there's all these little things you can do with your body.
Yeah, jogging sucks, man. Just
It's a pain in the ass.
and it's walking. Walking's good.
Walking's pretty good. John seems confused by this.
What is it? Walking is good?
Walking is good. Yes.
Yeah.
Running is. We are this is gonna go.
Should we save it for the Patreon?
Humans are the best long distance running animals on the planet. So
Right.
there's an argument to be made that we were born to run, but
Sorry, cheetahs.
walking is better. Just walk, but run if you want. Mike went into prison at 272 pounds. In 6 months, he was down to 216.
272? He's 5'11".
That's a lot.
272?
Yeah.
He was fat when he went into prison.
Yeah, because he before he went in, like he spent like a month in New York between sentencing and actual,
Okay.
incarceration.
Really glutting it.
Yeah, he met his dad for the first time in a while
shit.
too, and between that time, and he was partying a lot and just being a glutton, knowing that he was going to go to jail, and he met his dad for a minute. I just didn't think it was really important, but his dad like kind of gave him like the same rundown that Iceberg gave him. Like, you're just trying to please too many people. You're trying to like please every woman you're with. Just like stop it. You're never going to. Just like calm down. You're bringing all these girls over and you're kissing them on the mouth. Like, you know what they're doing when they're not with you? They're sucking my dick. Or some guy's pissing in their mouth and you're tongue kissing him. Like, man, you're a punk. His dad's telling him that shit, and he's like, and you got girls coming one at a time and they're seeing each other on the way out. Just have them come at the same time to your house. I used to have 6 or 7 bitches in the house with your mama, and he's like, my dad, shut the fuck up, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
It was just weird. His dad was also a reverend. He's like, and so he talks about this thing, like every reverend I knew growing up was also a pimp. So anybody said they were like Deacon John.
Well, have
like,
you seen this shit? I mean, now they have fucking planes. They're like giving.
They are fucking
They're
pimps.
pimps.
Yeah. Instagram
Pimps with sneakers.
Sneakers with
That's right,
sneakers with preachers with sneakers.
Preachers with sneakers,
fuck.
yeah.
And now the Sneaker
Fuck
Pimps
it.
is a band.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And Sneaker Pimps is also a
Trip hop.
it's also a phrase. I think I learned that from Iceberg Slim about kind of
A low rent pimp.
Yeah.
Sneaker pimp.
Yeah.
He didn't have the fancy shoes.
That's right. You don't got the Gators, baby. The Gators. So then he starts studying Islam a little bit more, but he says like, I really wasn't getting into the spirituality part of it. I just needed some kind of like regimen. But later he would get into the spirituality part of it, like the kind of really getting into it. But and then this is, so it's been a while, right? He's been in jail for a while now. More of the skepticism of his conviction is becoming more mainstream. I think, like I said, the Greta Van Susteren, like more TV shows. I think there's like a hard copy special on the inconsistencies of the case.
Well, it's funny how that media complex works, where they work hard to convict
And resurrect.
and then
Of
resurrect.
course, we love that. I mean, that's why Mike is so compelling to me in general, because it's a meteoric rise, fall from
and
grace,
down, and then down, and then up again,
and, I
and
mean,
down.
it's so, and it's still going. Larry King does a 2-part interview with him in prison.
Huh.
Now, Mike, what do you miss?
Indiana Youth Center, you're on the air.
Oh, do you want to tell him about what you said to me about
I want you to tell him.
it? so fucking Aaron.
I find out that Larry King is hospitalized in the ICU with COVID.
with COVID-19.
Yeah.
And he goes, he texts me. So this is what I read, like, in my room. He's probably in the house.
Larry
Texts
King
me-
is.
No, Aaron.
I was in my room. Yeah,
He's in
you
my
were
room.
downstairs.
And he goes, Larry King got COVID. He goes, no way that skeleton makes it through it. And then he goes, Necropolis, you're on the air. No way that skeleton makes it through it.
I'm sorry, guys.
It's
No.
so mean.
Well, to be fair, those suits are draped on a skeleton. Right?
Well, yeah, he's
the suspender. He's
Jesus,
an old man. My God.
Soccer souffle.
Chocolate.
I was
Chocolate.
There's a clip of him with Abed from Community.
That's right. Yeah.
saw-
and now
you see
this is
that?
on this is on the Larry King podcast program.
Yeah, but he's still like in a table.
Yes.
Did you
yes,
see that though?
Yes. Danny Putty is.
Yeah,
the
Danny
actor.
Putty.
Yeah.
He's like, what can't you do? I don't know what. Whatever.
What can't you do? What can't you do now that you're a celeb? What can you do that you couldn't do before? It was one of those dumb.
It was like
stupid celebrity questions.
Yeah.
And what happened?
And Danny
like-
Putty's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
And Larry's
What kind
like,
of question is
what
that?
about a private jet? And he's like, I'm on a basic show, private jet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
I'm on a
good.
show on Hulu.
Dude, he barely knows who he's talking to.
That's why he asks those questions, because he doesn't have to know them. He goes, you don't like eggs? I love eggs. I eat eggs all the time.
The thing that's fucking Norm Macdonald loves is
He's terrible.
somebody's talking about losing their kid, and he goes, Paul Newman says you never get over it. It's the way he relates. He brings up.
Oh, yeah. I don't like to talk about it. That's the.
Oh no, that's a separate thing. That's a separate thing.
God,
The separate
fucking
thing is David Letterman had he's like, I got this joke. He tells Norm, I got this joke. I can't say it. He's like, because Paul Newman's like a friend of mine. He's like, but he goes, there was a magazine I saw in the supermarket, and he goes, the headline was, why Paul Newman doesn't like to talk about his dead son. He goes, boy, there's a real head scratcher, huh? He goes, I think Paul Newman's with all his Hollywood friends around the pool, and one of them goes, don't you, Paul, how's that dead boy of yours? And he goes, oh, I don't like to talk about it.
Oh, why is that, Paul?
Paul, how's that dead boy of yours? Necropolis, you're on the air.
This just in. Grieving parents don't like to talk about their dead children. Necropolis. So he has this interview with. I mean, you.
Larry probably knows who he is.
Oh, dude, Larry's such a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
He's just
A little bit of A and B.
It's just getting.
A little bit of A and
It's
B.
just okay. Your interviews. It's just okay. He's not an idiot. I take that back. But
No, he's the
just,
best.
Some of the questions just get to be, whatever. And
Pointless. It's lazy.
but with Mike, you start to see in some of these interviews, and right around after Cuss dies, and you certainly see it with these prison and post-prison interviews, he is a very morose. He's either, I'm going to eat your children, or you don't want to be Mike Tyson.
I mean, even in before he lost to Holmes, he he had the phrase, "If he doesn't die, it doesn't count."
Right.
And so he was, part of being that he was scary, but he probably didn't think he was scary. He's just morose. But it's different when you're punching people in a boxing ring.
Yeah, like he has this. Larry says something like, he asks him like, "Oh well, what's prison like?" And these dumb questions, right? and Mike comes back with like, well, I'm gonna tell you something. There's people that have been in prison, and perhaps in a lot worse situation than I am in, but you just become very much attached to yourself. I believe there's a playwright by the name of Tennessee Williams who said, "We must distrust one another because that is the only way to protect each other from betrayal." And I'm a great believer in that. I'm a great believer. I believe that everyone is involved, that everyone that is involved in my life, one day or another, will betray me. I totally believe that. A lot of people say no, but this is what I believe. And like Larry's like, "Well, you sound like you're unhappy." He's like, "Yeah, well,
I'm in prison.
I'm in prison." Yeah.
New York, you're on the air.
Yeah, and Larry tries like, "I bet you missed the cheering crowds." Oh, okay. Thanks for the great insight. But you just start to see that, Tyson's very bipolar, right? He's either in this, I'm going to conquer the world, or what's it all worth type of mindset. It's all like, when you look back, it's all written on the wall. It's all out there for everyone to see,
Yeah.
So he gets out of prison, and there's a fanfare about that.
Well, this is 4 years.
Yeah, about 4 years in, yeah. 4 years of the 6-year sentence, but he's still going to be on probation. Don King is instantly a pain in the ass.
Shocker.
He throws Mike this gigantic, ostentatious party like he did the first time, the first time they met. There was this wonderful party that Dom threw, but he throws Mike this party, and he caters it with the fucking champagne, lobster, shrimp, pork, real Muslim shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, "What, Dom?
Reading the room.
The fuck?"
Yeah. The guy just got out of jail. He doesn't want to.
And he's just saying, being so over the top with his language and the braggadocio, and but Don had like $200 million in fights lined up for him right away.
Jesus Christ.
And so like he got this Showtime deal, and so he's locked in, so he knows that like,
I remember that when he came out, man, and it was just like they were just dying to get him in the ring right away, and it was he
came out looking good.
Yeah, no, it was a very exciting time in heavyweight boxing, and I
remember it very well.
I was glued.
too.
I was
Me
glued to the fights.
That was prime me TV sports time.
Yeah, because heavyweight boxing was an event. If somebody had HBO or got pay-per-view, all your parents' friends were there or whatever.
And
ESPN was a thing.
Yeah.
It was like a thing where there was guys like Lennox and Evander, and they were all heavyweight boxing was still entertaining. It wasn't a joke yet.
But even Lennox was later. Evander was still kind of like coming. Evander had kind of taken Mike's.
There was
at the time.
There was still exciting boxing going on, and it was just like when he got out of prison, it was just this huge injection of new intrigue.
Yeah.
And I was super on board during that period.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it says a lot that ESPN 2 had a thing called Friday Night Fights.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was, for me, it was huge. They're like, Friday Night Fight. Like, that doesn't happen today. People aren't watching boxing like they were.
Right.
No. Every Friday night, they would have
there was a fight.
Hours of boxing.
Yeah.
So despite, some of the soul searching and Spartan living that Mike kind of like got accustomed to and started to value in prison, even though he was eating fucking White Castle, he was he was still a glutton. And when the money starts coming in, advances and appearance fees and all that, he's already making money even before some of his first fights. back. And he's like, I got addicted to that material consumption, you know? And he starts spending money. This is when Mike starts spending money crazy.
Is this when he's getting the tigers?
Well, because he gets out of prison, right, after having
He's like,
prison. And now he's got all the money again.
Yeah.
Now he's really going.
yeah, he was getting so much mail in prison, he had to get a bigger cell.
Yeah.
Right now he's like, well, now I have money and I got more shit, so I need to get more place. So he was buying like 4 houses in New York, in LA, in Vegas, in Chicago, mansions.
to be a realtor for Mike.
Mansions. He $100,000 murals of all the greatest fighters in history by his pool.
Oh God.
His backyard looked like the
Caligula.
Bellagio Hotel. He had 7-foot statues of Alexander the Great, Hannibal, Genghis Khan, and Jean-Jacques Dessalines, the Haitian revolutionary.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
He goes, you just can't go out and buy a giant statue of Hannibal. So I had to call the guy who did the lions at the MGM Grand.
Oh my God.
I gave him some pictures, and then my landscaping fee was $200,000 a year for my property.
Jesus Christ.
For the one in Vegas. East Coast Mansion, largest house in the state of Connecticut, which I think 50 Cent bought like about 20 years later.
There's a ton of money in Connecticut too. So
Yeah,
that's
the
something.
largest house in the state of Connecticut, 50,000 square feet, 13 kitchens, 19 bedrooms.
13 kitchens.
My goal was to fill each bedroom with a
what are
different
you gonna
girl at
do?
the
What-
same time.
Oh.
30
No,
wooded
I
acres,
get it.
indoor and outdoor pool, lighthouse, racquetball court, and an actual nightclub that he called TKO.
A racquetball.
A nightclub.
Nightclub.
A lighthouse.
Master bedroom was 5,000 square feet.
Wait, did you say was there a lighthouse?
Yes.
Did I hear?
Mhm.
Were there a lot of ships coming in? Oh, okay. Do we know if this was a landlocked lighthouse?
I'm assuming if there's a lighthouse,
It's
yeah.
near the water.
it reminds me of prison when they did skate.
It's more of a guard tower. I guess. He had a glass elevator.
That's cool.
Twin circular marble stair. In the 6 years that I had owned it, you could count the number of times I was actually there on 2 hands.
God.
Ohio mansion. Let's see. This one fucks me up here. When I was in jail, I was down to 6 cars.
Ah, that's tough.
God.
When he got out,
Then he only had five.
he went to a Rolls Royce dealership,
Ah,
and they see 3 black guys in Jordans and Pumas. I don't know what's up. So they go to the young guy and they go, "This Rolls right here. How many do you have on the lot?" The guy answers. He goes, "I will take them all." He bought the whole lot of Rolls Royces.
oh, to be a car salesman.
Do you want
like
to test
Tyson.
drive it? Nah, I'll take all you have in stock. The kid got promoted to general manager after.
That's what I'm talking about. I want to be a fry cook when Mike Tyson.
You see
comes
this
in.
kid? He sold a lot. I mean, the lot. This kid's dynamite.
He'll say whatever they need.
He'd go to.
They weren't going to buy anything.
He'd drop $1,000 a day at stores on Rodeo Drive or at, the fucking Caesar's Market,
Some
with
stupid
Forum
shit,
shops.
yeah.
He's like, my place looked like it was coming to America. Like, it was ridiculous. He had so much money coming in that he couldn't keep track of it. Like, his accountant was also like fucking Don's accountant.
Of course,
it was so
and
fucked up.
skimming money.
Oh, that's so bad.
They'd find just like $1 million in cash in like duffel bags that they thought were like with dirty laundry from trips.
What's the?
Oh, is this your laundry? Oh, this is a fucking $1 million.
Yeah, I can launder that.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes he'd be driving around this Ferrari, and one day he was like, "Ah, man, I want a Tiger," and so he
Got a tiger.
called the guy, and they smuggled in a couple of cubs, and then he had some tigers. He had a $2,500 a week trainer.
Well, that's what you're talking about with Segura. Was it started with cars?
Yeah,
And then one of the guys had a line on exotic animals, and I think the conversation started in prison. And then he's like,
he called this car guy to get working on that,
yeah.
and then he actually,
Wait, when he was in prison?
yeah.
The conversation started. It was like, by the way, this
Yeah.
guy also.
These things don't happen overnight. You
Yeah.
know, you gotta find a good lineage, the tiger lineage.
Yeah, I mean,
breeding.
I've always said that you just can't take any tiger.
Then he had. Then he thought about getting some lions.
Well, yeah, and that's
Then he got
naturally.
bit by a lion,
That sucks.
and he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna
Huh.
get a lion."
I'm a tiger guy.
I get scratched by a cat, but they're all right.
Dude, it's so crazy. We could talk hours about
It's just the excess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just think of like the internet. But this is before the internet, and you just anything you want will show up. Just imagine.
Yeah, he had Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
He had
he'd Prime Amazon.
Sahara Prime.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, Bengal Prime. He was getting these animals
He
delivered.
had an idea. Someone was like, "Hey, I know where we can get. I don't know.
Tigers, lions,
I don't know
bears.
what's the dumbest thing you could think of. A space station. They'd be
So-
like,
Yeah.
A PlayStation?
A PlayStation.
How about a space station, Mike? So he's got these comeback fights lined up. A lot of tomato cans, as it were.
yeah, the Irish guy McNeely.
Peter McNeely fight that ends quickly. Then he wins the title. Then he works his way up and he has a fight with Frank Bruno, which he had fought before.
Yeah.
I believe. And he wins the title back from Frank Bruno. So he gets that belt
Did
back.
Bruno beat Holyfield or something?
Yeah. Or like years before, maybe
Yeah.
in like an amateur tournament. Something like that.
It was like watching the McNeely fight. It was a carnival almost. It felt very much like Rocky 3.
That's the one that ended. Did that one turn into a pizza commercial?
I think it might.
Sorry, what?
I think that was the one where McNeely, though he was like a Great White Hope guy, right?
Well, McNeely wasn't necessarily a bad boxer. Like he
But he was a journeyman.
He had come close to being available for title bouts, but he comes out and McNeely just is all energy, nervous energy, and just storms Tyson right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's
storms
right.
him into the corner. Tyson fights him off, knocks him down, but McNeely it's like
Yeah.
a glancing knockdown, and McNeely gets up immediately and starts dancing around the ring. And then Tyson goes in and punches him a few more times.
He goes down hard.
He goes down. He gets his fucking lights just cleaned
Yeah,
out.
he cleans his clock, and it was the. I remember the commercial, and I just opened to the page where he got $100,000 deal from Pizza Hut, where it was the stuffed crust pizza.
Nobody out pizzas the Hut.
Nobody out pizzas the Hut. The stuffed crust pizza was because it was so substantial that, and he's eating it, and he turns to eat the crust, and it clocks him on the jaw, and he fucking dives.
Yeah.
McNeely goes down because the crust hits him in the jaw.
Oh, he does this commercial after.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He did an
Yeah,
AOL
yeah.
commercial and shit too.
Jesus Christ, I could have kept fighting if not for the stuffed crust.
No, he was an American.
He was an
Irish.
American.
Well, in my version, he's a bit different.
Yeah, he got him after the second knockdown, and his corner came out, and they're like, "We actually like you. We like you. We like you."
Cut open his gloves. They're stuffed with something.
It's fucking mozzarella.
Jesus Christ,
It's piping hot mozzarella. Jesus.
Nobody ever saw that coming. Jesus.
His fingers are wrapped in pepperoni.
He's truly an Irishman.
Yeah, that I remember watching that McNeely fight, and then I remember a few weeks later seeing
the
that
commercial.
fucking
Yeah.
commercial. And
Yeah. Yeah, look, here's the thing. You're never going to get paid for anything ever again.
But
we
take
the $100,000.
We got an idea.
buy a Pizza Hut.
Even then, as a kid watching that fight,
Buy Pizza Hut. Yeah.
I must have been what? What was that? Was that 96 or 98?
Bro, this was fucking 95.
Yeah, it's early.
Yeah, so I'm around 10, and I know about Tyson, but like watching that fight, I remember being like, "This is a clown show."
Because that's that. I mean, I think Evander and stuff was like 96, 97.
Yeah, and I think it's even. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
So he wins the title, Frank Bruno, all that, but he's got targets on his back. He's like being attacked from so many angles of like parasites and opportunists and people like, oh well, I can accuse him of this, and because he's off, like he's unhinged and he's unstable, and so there's a bunch of like lawsuits that he's fending off and stuff, bobbing and weaving as it were. So it's hectic. So while all this is going on, he's gonna go for the WBA belt that Bruce Seldon had, and he got that back in 2 minutes, 2 minutes in,
Man.
and the dude has like a nervous breakdown in the ring. Like you find out like he like, I can't fight anymore, type of thing. He beats him hard for 2 minutes, and they just like,
He throws in his own towel.
yeah.
Really?
That's crazy.
Oh God!
And this is the fight in Vegas.
That's not known as one of Tyson's like top 10 fights.
No, but it's the fight that Tupac got killed at.
Oh fuck! Really?
I was watching that live.
That's one of Tupac's 10 fights.
I remember seeing Tyson leave the ring, and as like you see the entourage going out, Tupac jumps over them. He's like, "Hey, Mike!" And he acknowledges him, looks back, and my cousin sitting next to me on the couch goes, "Was that fucking Tupac?"
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. And then later he's shot that night in the car with
Yeah,
Shug.
What was your cousin doing that night?
Watching the fight on the couch with me
Eating fucking stuffed crust.
Okay.
in New York.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
A phone call away.
Tupac visited him in the locker room after that fight, and Mike was gonna go to see him at Suge Knight's after party
Oh no!
later that night, but instead he's like, I went home, saw my daughter, had some champagne, and we fell asleep. And then he gets a call in the middle of the night saying they shot Pac.
Damn.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the other boxer is like, "I'll suck your dick, dude. I'll never fight
Hi
again.
guys.
I'm so sorry."
So now he's a year out of prison. He's fought 8 rounds and he's got $80 million.
Oh my
Jesus
God!
Christ, that's not good.
The thing is,
I mean,
like,
it's good, but
The thing about the excess though is like you're buying the fleet of Rolls Royces. It's like,
Why?
doesn't that also add to the stress?
Yes.
well, yeah, but
Dude,
in the moment,
you saw this happen to me this week. Like, I've got a couple cars. I got a work van. I don't have spots for all. I get notes on my car from a neighbor. This guy's got a dealership
what's the note say?
and 5 cars. They call my van a rape van and
Yeah.
fucking move it. Like I can't imagine the stress of
Does it
just
move
getting
your
out of
rape
jail.
van?
Yeah.
It's a rape van. I mean,
It's not a rape van.
Not
it's
yet.
It's an ugly van.
yeah.
They wrote
Has
rape.
anybody seen an ugly brown van?
They did write rape van.
What?
Yeah, they wrote
They-
it.
they-
Did
wrote
they
it
know? Did they know it was you?
Yeah, they knew that.
They left it on the van.
They left it on the van.
No. But doesn't.
Oh, do they know that it's me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they know where I live because they mentioned my 2-car garage and our driveway and why don't I park it there type of situation.
What the?
It was very
Okay,
rude.
I'm gonna save that for the Patreon because I gotta.
We're not
that's-
talking about that anymore on the Patreon.
I'm
We
gonna
might.
bring it up. Okay.
What if the guys
$5 a month, folks. You can listen to me bring
dude,
this
you're
up.
gonna hear me fucking talking about the stress of being me.
I know. Aaron's like, I got so many cars. Goddamn it. Oh, fucking sucks. They're calling my van a rape van. I can't go anywhere. They're following me home. They know about my fucking garage.
One can empathize with Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, what are you doing with your face?
What I'm saying is, I can't imagine. I mean, having 1 car is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. And that's why he wants to give the fucking Bentley to Ed Lover that time. Remember
Oh,
telling
dude,
you about that?
he threw. There were a couple of times when he got in a car accident and like the cop showed up and he like told the cop to take it.
Yeah.
And the cop was like, "No, I can't." He's like, "Sure, you can." And then the cop took it, and then he's like, "Oh, dude, the cops took my car. They fucking took a bribe," and like the whole thing disappeared.
Yeah.
because the cop took the Bentley.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Sure you can.
Sure you can.
Let me show you how to drive it.
If automatic.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I can't imagine how. I mean, there's that study. Your life doesn't really get any better after you get to around 75.
Oh, the more
grand.
money, more problems?
Yeah, once you
also
have
Don King.
certain things alleviated,
Yeah.
Sure.
your life doesn't get that much better, or your happiness quotient doesn't get much
course, of
higher
course. No,
after
yeah.
you have. In fact, it just gets more stressful, right?
Yeah.
And so this guy's buying. I mean, when you have exotic animals capable of killing people and a fleet of cars, I mean, it's just.
Well, I think it's a thing too where he's just like it's boredom, and
you can.
and he did, yeah. I mean, but like, I'll take everything you have in stock. It's not as if Mike is numbering them.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
He would have no idea if they were there.
The exhileration comes from the moment of purchase, not
Yes,
from the use
Exactly.
later,
That's
right?
the whole
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
He's not under the hood of all of them.
Wrenching.
Yeah.
You ever fix a tranny?
My friend Eddie Murphy had.
Oh no.
What?
Oh.
Transmission.
Huh?
Was it ATM transaction?
Yeah. Yes. ATM transaction.
Yeah. Batman.
We'll swing by. So sorry. So Tupac's killed.
He mourns.
He's a year out of prison. He's 8 rounds in and $80 million richer. But he, as is par for the course, still a depressed guy.
Well, yeah, because it's not about
None
the
of
money.
these things don't fill those holes. Those spiritual holes are not filled by material.
Yeah,
Goods, right?
the fleet of Rolls Royce.
I mean, Custom Auto taught him to fight. He didn't necessarily teach him to live.
Right. And listen, most of us don't know how to live. Like,
Yeah, you kind of.
I mean, we're all guilty of this in a way.
You figure it out as you
of
go.
trying to, stuff that hole full
And then
of
right before
Amazon
you die,
shit.
Stuff the fucking thing.
So he starts
Pizza Hut.
he starts partying and self-medicating again. Like, he's like, I started smoking weed again. I was not being a good Muslim. I was drinking, smoking weed, and I got back into coke hard.
Really?
Yeah, he was getting into the chopitude or the white girl, white bitch, blondie, etc.
Good band though.
And his next fight was Holyfield.
Really?
That's not good.
And is Holyfield holding a title?
Holyfield is no. I don't think Holyfield's holding a title at the time. But then I think shit, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of school, but it was a big fight.
Because I mean, Holyfield's the real deal. I mean,
He's the real deal.
Yeah. I love Holyfield.
Yeah, honestly, Holyfield.
He seems like a really good guy.
He does seem like a good guy, especially because he did a really good ESPN commercial.
Oh yeah, along with Terry Tate off his linebacker.
He also was, he was just, he was definitely like one of the celebrities that always stayed deeply entrenched in the black community. Mm-hmm. He was, he wasn't doing an OJ. He was really,
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, he wasn't moving to fucking Brentwood and only hanging out with white golfers. Evander would go to schools. He would say, don't expect to be playing basketball or rapping. Do fucking school work, and he was just really good about supporting the community. For a mega fucking huge celebrity.
Yeah, Vander seemed like a good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, even the way that he reacts to what we're going to hear, I think is evidence of that.
Well, this is the first fight.
Yeah, so the first fight,
Oh, right,
the first fight, the rumor was that Holyfield was in the mountains training for 18 weeks straight in like high altitude, and he was just like a fucking beast. And they had a fight, and if you watch it, there's a little bit of headbutting going on from Holyfield.
Right.
And Mike's excuse, let's call it what it is, was that he was dazed from the headbutting, and like we went back to his corner and like really didn't know what was going on. And when he got knocked down those couple times, he like didn't feel anything, and just that's what happens when you get knocked down, Mike. Like,
yeah.
He did get headbutted a couple of times. But he lost in technical knockout to Holyfield the first time they fought.
Mm-hmm.
So Holyfield, yeah, he did. He would headbutt a little bit, but it's not like Tyson was clean.
No,
there's so many fights where Tyson gets so many low blow calls.
Yeah,
punches after the bell.
After the bell. Also, Tyson would use his elbow a lot.
Yep.
When he was grappling.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I hear all this fucking shit about all the headbutts from Holyfield, and like, dude, Tyson was doing fucking dirty shit too.
So it's just that's how it goes in the ring. You're gonna do every little thing.
Yeah.
And anything you can get away with.
Yeah.
And like the police said, every little thing he does is magic. You love the police.
I hate
the police.
I hate Sting and the police
and cops
so much.
Yeah, but you love his Scottish opera.
Scottish.
I didn't know he was Scottish.
I don't know what it is.
Scottish is fucking very good.
His dock worker.
I like
opera,
that a lot.
Whatever. Anyway,
so
musical.
Then there's an immediate rematch is scheduled, and he fights him again, and he gets headbutted a couple more times, and he's pissed and frustrated, not in a good spot. Doing drugs,
probably
being grifted on all sides by people, or at least betrayed.
Probably goes back to his corner and sees guys that he hates.
Yeah, oh god. What the fuck you want?
And they do he bites his ear once, and then he does it again.
I think on the other ear.
On the other ear, and it's on the mat.
Yeah.
And it's like the most famous boxing thing I can remember ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so scandalous and sensational.
Oh yeah, I mean, did you remember the jump he did after the second bite?
Yeah.
He jumps high.
Oh,
In pain.
yeah.
And I don't think he's doing like, this is not a soccer act out.
No, he bit his fucking ear off.
He bit his fucking ear off.
Yeah.
They replaced it with part of his butt cheek, I think, later.
Tight.
Oh God, probably
Which was
stinks.
substantial.
Which was substantial. Oh, cool.
You say it stinks. I say it's substantial.
I was at a
wasn't a
I was at a
butthole.
punk show with my friends. My grandfather picked us up.
That place probably stank.
Yeah.
No, it was great. And on the way, he's like, "Oh shit, the fight!" My grandfather from Ireland. He goes, "Oh shit!" And he goes, "Oh shit, the fight!" And he puts on the radio, and they're like, "This is absolute disgrace. This is just a terrible act of cannibalism." And my grandmother goes, "What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened?"
I remember.
Because they're just ruminating on the thing. He doesn't know the news. He thought that was a disgraceful act of cannibalism.
He's like, where's the boxing?
Jesus fucking Christ!
Where's the boxing?
Mike knocked him out and ate him, I bet.
No, I don't even remember the first Holyfield Tyson fight.
No,
I do.
I absolutely remember the second one.
yeah. No, I was way into it. I mean, I was gonna go to a punk show still.
Yeah, obviously, Jed, you're so
Yeah,
into
he
it.
must have been into it. We were like 5 or whatever.
5.
Doesn't
Old enough to read.
not yet. I still can't. Can't read the room. I'll tell you that.
What
So-
about the womb?
Oh, I destroyed the womb. But dude, it was a fucking $100 million in pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
massive.
Tyson got 30 million. Holyfield got 35. They were the highest paid professional boxing purses until 2007.
Damn.
2 million households bought that pay-per-view. That stood again till 2007, which was De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather
I think
Really?
till 2007. So like 10 what?
People were desperate.
Don
for
King
De La
had
Hoya
some
to flip
insane
Mayweather.
title for it too.
Oh yeah, fuck.
It was really good.
The rear turns to ear.
No, that he didn't know.
What?
Did you say rear or ear?
What was it called?
All right, listen, we can put it there, but it's gonna stink, okay?
It was
Why am I lopsided when I sit?
I know you can't hear me.
I mean, President Clinton said that he was horrified watching it.
Fuck President
It was
Clinton.
such a
fucking
big,
horrified
big
motherfucker.
fucking-
dude, it was a really bad thing.
Man, John
I
Wayne.
think that was a really bad one. I don't know if I really enjoyed that fight.
I was getting some bomb ass head under the desk.
I wish I could get some air.
Or some ass.
My intern liked it. I didn't.
I forget what he called it, but it was, an over the top.
Christ, Bill. Fucking. I hate politicians so much right now.
Read the room, Mike. You got to keep your ear to the mat.
Your ear.
Oh man, I wish
Not
I remembered
his.
what it was called. But anyways, so this was bad for his image.
This was especially
Needless
because
to say.
okay, so what? This
It was
is
the first heavyweight fight in over 50 years that ended in a DQ in a disqualification. Mike had a $3 million fine. His license was suspended, and this was also another example
The
of
Sound and the Fury.
That's right.
It was
Which
later
is
known
funny.
as the bite fight.
Yeah.
and this is what year is
Or
this?
the bite
This is 1995.
Seven.
Shit.
So this is also time when places like ESPN are beginning to morph from here's sports
To sports
here's
entertainment.
sports entertainment,
Right.
and it's becoming nonstop. Tyson
It's happened.
ear,
It's what happened
Tyson
with news
ear.
and CNN. And all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it again, first heavyweight fight in 50 years to end in disqualification. Mike had a $3 million fine. His purse was deferred or suspended for a while. His license to box was suspended, and this was an example of another. We're gonna come down hard on Mike. This is like the Tyson rule stuff, which you saw.
He's a
with,
thug.
right?
He needs to be reined in.
Famously, Kermit Washington
In the NBA.
in the NBA crushed, disintegrated Rudy Tomjanovich's face.
Yeah.
with a fit, like Rudy T, who later went on to coach the Lakers
And the Rockets.
and the Rockets. He was running down, and Kermit Washington big guy running, Kermit Washington running fist to face. It crushed in Rudy T's skull. Rudy T was in the hospital ICU for days. When he woke up, he said, "What's that metallic fatty taste?" And they said, "That's your brain."
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Have you ever tasted your brain before?
He was lucky to survive.
Yeah.
Kermit Washington ended up with a 30-day suspension and a $10,000 fine. And this was like 78 or whatever. But okay, the guy almost killed the guy. $10,000 fine. Like
Exactly.
Mike Tyson might have never boxed again. So he stayed,
if he didn't make Vegas money.
if he wasn't fucking cash cow golden goose. So Mike stayed away from boxing for a while. In '98, he still got to make you still got to feed the monkey.
Yeah.
So
The tiger.
he signs a deal and he makes appearances at WrestleMania 14
Perfect.
as an enforcer for the main event match between Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
That's right.
During this time, Tyson was also an unofficial member of Michael's crew, Degeneration X. Was it Degeneration? That?
Yeah.
Break it
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Break it
Yeah,
down. Suck it.
Suck it was going on.
Break it down. They're wearing ashless chaps over their Wranglers saying, "Break it down. Suck it."
Yeah. And then they get a convicted rapist in the crew.
Yeah, he's got to. You got to have an enforcer. He was paid
Break
$3
it
million.
down.
He was paid $3 million to show up to WrestleMania.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ.
But still, like, you know, his exorbitant spending habits, his being around parasites. Mike had made like $115 million at this point in his career, but he was burning through cash.
Yeah.
And like a $10 million bill to the IRS. He
Right.
does not have a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's made a lot, but
Right.
doesn't have a lot.
Right. Don King has most of it.
He's doing tons of coke.
That's not helping.
Tons of coke. I don't mention like all the kids he has.
No, yeah.
I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. Like, he's got kids everywhere. One he had a kid that he named D'Amato with this one woman that he found out wasn't his.
Oh, God.
What a heartbreak,
Yeah.
kid. He has to see psych. He has to go to psych wards. It's
What, to find the kids?
no. No, he did visit Mike Tyson though. I mean Michael Jackson though. Speaking of finding kids.
Jeez.
Yeah.
He came out of his fucking cryogenic chamber. Hey, Mike. My name's Mike, too. This is Bubbles. I don't have any tigers here.
So
What did him and Mike get up to?
well, Mike, this is what was so prophetic is that he went to Neverland Ranch and he's like, this was apparently the time he was molesting all those kids, and I saw Mike with some like punk kids, and I just felt like if Mike ever tried some fucked up perv shit, that they would have beat his skinny ass.
Look, he's like the hardcore punkers.
Yeah, dude, he was like he had some like
racist skins.
yeah he
at
had,
Neverland?
yeah red lace guys.
Red laces.
No, he said he was with like some.
Oi, Mike, you get over here.
Fucking queer kid.
I'll fuck your chimp, mate.
I'll fuck you till you love me. He said he was so skinny and like drugged out and that he thought like any of these kids could have beat his ass if they tried anything. But then he also said like Michael Jackson
Could box.
He had this quote of
He could whip my ass,
the
actually.
Negro could scrap, man. For real. He said that Mike was like, your rest is important, Mike. You got to get your rest. And really value that. And that was like the time you found out that Mike wasn't Michael Jackson wasn't sleeping, and he was
Sleep is
taking
important.
propofol to go to sleep,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's
God.
what eventually killed him.
You gotta sleep, Mike.
Sleep.
It's important.
Sleep is the cousin of
I
death.
hate my dreams, though.
My dad's
But in
in
that sleep of death, what dreams may come? I don't know what voice I was doing there.
Little mix of both.
So then Mike gets in like a motorcycle accident or a car accident with some people, and maybe assaults or doesn't assault them. And so in 99, he's sentenced to a year in prison, $5,000, and had to undergo 200 hours of community service for the aggravated car accident assault situation that he had in 98. He served 9 months of that sentence. He was visited at that time that he was doing that sentence by one John F. Kennedy Jr., whose brother was dealing with some issues about fucking the babysitter at the time. Wasn't that
nice.
his brother?
I don't know. JFK Jr.'s brother fucked it.
The Kennedys have, a history of
Issues?
scandals and stuff.
I don't feel that way.
It's his cousin.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Yeah, his cousin got in trouble for screwing a
That's my
babysitter that might have been like 17 or something.
Wait, didn't your cousin kill a baby?
Screwing him, fucking him,
That's a
killing
whole
him,
other-
whatever.
Are you talking about Teddy?
No.
Oh, what if the Kennedys' cousins killed a babysitter in fucking Cape Cod or some shit?
So
Really?
JFK goes to see
Junior.
JFK Jr. goes to see Mike, and
Sup, champ?
he says, and you gotta understand, like JFK Jr. was basically Bruce Wayne at this time.
Yes, very Bruce Wayne.
And as much as he could be, very much a man of the people, like taking the fucking subway in Manhattan type of guy.
Yeah.
And as a 90s looking Bruce Wayne motherfucker.
Yeah, I was always
very
the thing
much
too
so.
where everybody's like, what's he gonna do? And then they're like, he's making a magazine. And you're like, okay.
It's
Man,
the fucking lamest fucking thing you
Magazine?
can do.
What?
I mean, you gotta try something.
Like,
Yeah, it's like the thing like
It's better than running for office.
where Al Gore is like, I have a big announcement, and it's like, I'm gonna be a venture capitalist, and you're like, okay.
Tweet that.
Yeah. Why? What's the point?
And so he told Mike, like, my whole family told me not to come see you. But I did anyways. And
Teddy all red faced. Yeah.
have a drink. Schwarzenegger.
I gotta get back to the road.
So whatever you do, don't disrespect your family in public. Don't do that because that's what society wants. That's what they expect of you. People want to break you and make you like you're nothing. Just call them an asshole in private. Don't ever do it in front of the public.
Your family.
Yeah. And it was kind of like this conversation. They were giving advice to each other about this in a weird way. And
Stay
they
away from the babysitters, man. I'm
the call
telling
is
you.
coming from inside the house,
Yeah.
John.
And don't kill him either.
Don't.
Isn't
And John was like, "Listen, I know you're in here because you're in here because you're black, dude. Like they're making an example of you." And he had this kind of, leveling conversation. Like, we know why you're here. We
That's
knew,
sweet.
right?
Yeah.
That's sweet. I didn't know JFK. I don't know much about JFK Jr. at all.
Yeah,
Right.
Mike said like he was letting me know he knew what time it was. And so they had a little more of a conversation. Doesn't really matter what they talked about. It's not super. But like the next day, Mike got out.
Wow.
He said like after the next morning after I talked to JFK Jr., I got out of jail. He said, "Get me out of here. Ask your fucking cousin."
Oh, God, that's good.
The night after I talked to John, boom, I got out of jail. It's
Damn.
really stupid. So then he's released, and then he had a fight with Orlin Norris in 99. He knocked down Norris with a left hook that he threw after the bell sounded in the first round. Then Norris hurt his knee. Norris hurt his knee on the way down.
Son of
so
a
he couldn't
bitch.
keep going, so it was ruled a no contest fight. And then oh God, what other fight? He's got. Then he starts like, now he's prescribed Zoloft. This is the fucking Zoloft time.
Oh boy.
He was just like, I hated running, so I would just like get super stoned and like read Karl Marx and walk 16 miles a day type of shit.
You know about the Zoloft thing?
Oh,
It's in they do Mike Tyson for president on the Chris Rock show, and it just goes to Mike at a press conference. It's like cameras flashing and microphones around me. He goes, "Doctors got me on this Zoloft shit, but that's to keep me from killing y'all."
right.
Dude, no, he had no.
He
He
does
had,
the
he,
hand gesture.
he had so
What kind of press conference?
he had
It's
a
a
press
good press
conference. He had a
conference.
press conference for his fight with Andrew Galata, I think.
Yeah.
So he has a press
Right.
conference, and this is
Italian ice.
September 4th. He goes, "I'm a convicted rapist.
Oh no!
I'm an animal.
My-
I'm the stupidest person in boxing. I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna kill somebody."
Oh my god!
I'm on this Zoloft thing, right? But listen, I'm on that to keep me from killing y'all. That's why I'm on that. Listen, now I'm out here fighting, right? They got me in some shit. They got my dick fucked up. They got me in all type of shit, right? I'm just keeping it real here, right? I don't want to be taking Zoloft, but they are concerned about the fact that I'm a violent person, almost an animal, and they only want me to be an animal in the ring, which is that's the gambit you take, right? Like, oh,
course.
you're encouraging and rewarding one behavior while
Yeah.
expecting it to just turn off at the
Ferocious.
in a most ferocious of fashions, of course. So the also at this time he starts having some tiger trouble.
Oh, wait,
The tigers are getting.
Hold on.
Should we take a break? Yeah,
let's
take a break.
I want to hear about
I gotta
this
take
tiger
my
trouble.
Zoloft.
Doesn't he bring them all to that place in like
Oh, John, that's
Oklahoma?
Hold on. That's what we're here for.
All right, we'll be right back, folks. And we're back.
Now, if you're just joining us, we're talking about tiger trouble.
Tiger trouble.
I think that's where we left off, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
he's having
so-
tiger trouble.
So Tiger Woods cheated on his wife. And,
No.
is it-
We're talking about the Tiger King.
Yeah. So,
King Tiger.
so Tyson,
He's got tigers.
Isn't that a
he's got
character in Hot Shot?
He's
tigers.
running out of money.
You know, he's
Got tiger trouble.
he's got fights coming up. He's smoking weed. He's using the Whizzinator to pass drug tests.
Oh, the Whizzinator, where you got a fake cock.
It's a fake cock, like
Oh, nice.
yours, and
Is it
like mine?
And
Like
Yeah.
what kind of cock?
The Whizzinator.
yeah. I need your cock, your balls, and your urethra. And your urine, preferably sterile.
And you clean child urine.
I drink it up.
I like when he does the sucking sounds. He really does. He does. He's talking about the milkshake?
Yeah.
I drank his milkshake with some fava. So he goes back to his house in Vegas, and he's got a couple of cub cats that he smuggled in, and he's playing with them. But he had to get rid of his original tiger, who was a fucking giant at this point. You might have seen him wearing short shorts holding the tiger with the chain in the famous picture.
I have. Yes. That's the original tiger?
Yeah, and so his trainer was holding this tiger called Kenya
No.
with some animal enthusiasts, and he doesn't know exactly what happened, but he heard that the lady enthusiast climbed over the fence to get Kenya, and things went terribly wrong.
To get him, was she like a fucking animal?
They're no good after tasting that blood, so I had to get rid of Kenya. We donated her to a zoo in California. I got sued, of course, but I won the case. He didn't have to give the lady money, but he felt bad, so he gave her $250 grand.
Yeah.
Have you climbed over a fence to meet a tiger out of sheer interest and curiosity?
No, it'd be the other way.
Did it go disastrously?
Have you eaten someone who's climbed into your
Has somebody
cage?
broke into your tiger cage?
And you've eaten them,
And you got a taste of that blood?
And you had to get rid of that tiger due to a taste for blood?
and you were shipped to San
But you still
Diego.
have the cubs if it wrenches your heart every time you see them because it reminds you of their mother?
God damn it.
Call me.
So he's got this fight with Andrew Galata.
Yeah, the Italian ice. Yeah,
And the Italian ice.
that's just what I call.
And like, dude, this dude was doing steroid. Like, he was a
Yeah.
fucking beast.
Yeah,
He was, and
I think he had little legs too.
he had-
Little legs.
Well, I mean, he's
How much you bench?
Top heavy.
how much you bench? And Tyson was kind of like psyched out about that, how big this guy was, how strong he was, and so
Yeah, I mean Tyson is not a.
He's big, man. I don't know.
Tyson is a small heavyweight.
Go for the legs.
yes, he is a small heavyweight, and
He's 5'11", 220 pounds. Like when at peak.
like, I mean, here's the thing, like, when you looked at him versus Holyfield, you're like, Holyfield's going to dust him because Holyfield looked like a guy who did steroids, and he probably did.
In one of the
Holyfield doesn't look like a guy that did steroids,
dude,
to me, bro.
Look at Holyfield in peak Holyfield fashion. It looks like he did.
He looks like a very
Compared to Mike, I don't think so at all.
No. I mean, he maybe it's not like
He had
steroids
like
today,
a bodybuilder
but 90s
physique.
steroids. You know,
Yeah.
this is
This is the most abused person that got his fucking ear bit off. He headbutts. He did steroids.
No,
I mean, but we can
kind
talk about the cream in the clear, like MLB shit. You know, shit they were given to baseball players that would clear.
I just,
for Vegas-
I
for
never
Vegas
got that
fights.
vibe from Evander at
No,
all.
I didn't
I always
either.
thought
I
he
didn't
looked
either.
pretty lean.
It depends on what you take.
Oh, okay. Like
so-
string bean steroids.
So in the Tyson fight against, I think the first.
I mean, you take some clenbuterol, maybe some Anavar, you lean up. They call them bitch steroid. I mean, you can take steroids.
Bitch steroids. Are you gonna keep saying bitch in this episode? Because
Yeah,
I'm
I've
very
been reading
upset.
this fucking book, bitch. Man, I've been reading it. I'm absorbing it by osmosis, Jones.
That's trouble. So in Tyson's second fight against Razor Ruddock, he gets. I think it's the fight against Razor. He gets docked a bunch of points for punching under the belt.
Yeah.
And one of the commentator points out, he's like, well, he's pretty hard for him. He's a very short guy.
Yeah.
He's 5'11", but at the heavyweight
Get
division.
the fuck out of here. The guy's like a precision fighter. He knows when he's hitting under the belt.
But he's 5'11" in the heavyweight division, which
they're-
means everybody
they're all,
else
you know,
is 6'2".
Lennox Lewis is like 6'6".
Yeah, and then the fucking Klitschko's are saying, well, his arms are so long.
Well, fuck the Klitschko's. We shouldn't even talk about them. They won't fight each other. And they're
No,
they're cowards.
but they would say that. They're like, oh, he always hits under the belt because his arms are so long. These guys are all precision fighters. Nobody needs to hit under the belt.
Well, and they raise the belt up to their nipples.
Right.
Like it's all bullshit, and that's why nobody watches boxing anymore. But it's. I mean, Galata was definitely juicing, and at Holyfield, likely not certain.
No, but in the way that they were juicing in the major leagues, maybe.
Yeah, because-
Mike never juiced ever.
Probably.
He was doing coke. And
Everybody
stuff.
else is juicing, but Mike.
He probably did. He probably did
But I mean,
something.
Mike was a fat guy who leaned up for fights.
No, but we're also talking about steroids. What we think about steroids now is not what they thought about steroids in the 90s.
Sure, that's true.
Like the cream in the clear, the shit they're talking
and a
about with
lot
Barry
of,
Bonds.
and
That
a lot,
is-
yeah, later steroid. I mean,
cream will run. No, that guy was doing steroids and coke.
and you know, as the science got better later, for especially like for football, cycling, and baseball, they take steroids just to heal up.
right.
Sure, baseball is 162 games.
Yeah.
Cycle. It's healthier to do the Tour de France if you do steroids. Otherwise, you're probably going to risk permanent damage to your body.
Right.
Yeah.
There's you know a million different variations, formulations.
Yeah.
Say,
Get your, ball,
administration.
get your balls
joining
all,
us.
Get your balls all shrunk up. Meet some nice bearded French lady.
Lance Armstrong cut a ball off because it made him stronger.
And aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Was a dragon.
And lighter.
The sack's dragging me down.
It became a tenor sax, soprano sax.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
So he gets stoned before the fight because
Blazes a J?
He blazes a J. He's like, oh man, I need a joint Whizzinator to pass the thing.
It's like white cock too.
Yeah, a big uncut white cock. Jeez, Mike.
Oh man, I didn't know you pack it like that. Peel that motherfucker back. Let me fuck the fucking thing.
Peel that turtleneck back. Dude, I mean, he pummels Galata quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Galata like tell him, like, I don't want to go back out when he's sitting down. Like they're shoving the fucking mouthpiece back in and pushing him back into the ring.
It's the opposite of so many fights.
Throw your right fucking hand. Get the fuck out there. You got this type of shit. And like
Yeah.
he's like, ah.
There's a
He's
bunch-
like, I gotta go to Blockbuster. These things are overdue.
No, but there's a bunch of fights before with Tyson where like even the McNeely fight, his corner jumped in and McNeely was like, I think I got it. And I was like, you're fucking done.
No, you're done.
And this is the opposite.
Meanwhile, this corner's like, all right, 20 more bucks.
He's got the fucking gloves stuffed with mozzarella.
But he had enough. On his way back to the dressing room, Galata, like somebody threw him an orange soda at him, and he was just drinking.
No.
No, Oh, it's so sad.
But yeah, he
Don't throw sodas.
Sun kid.
A lot of people like bagged on him for throwing in the towel, but like it turned out after like the medical exam after for a lot of like he had multiple concussions.
Of course he
Oh my
did.
god, dude! It's like being in a car
A
wreck.
fractured left cheekbone. Like
Yeah.
he was fucked up.
He couldn't even feel his cheekbone.
Yeah, it was not. It was. He was fucked up. But then like right after it was, they piss tested Mike and because he refused the test before, and he thinks that like they were testing because they suspected Galata was on steroids. Mike tested hot for weed. And so they DQ'd him or
it's
they no
fucking
contested
stupid.
it or
Did
whatever.
you keep him over smoking weed?
Yeah. They made him.
What a
they
wonderful world.
I mean,
They
nothing could be
they
worse
found
for
weed
a
in the
fight.
system and
Yeah.
they suspended him for 90 days, which he wasn't going to do anyways. They fined him $5,000, made him donate $200,000 to a charity.
That's the
they
fucking
took away the
shit.
key TKO and changed it to a no decision.
That's the
Right.
fucking shit where they make you donate.
Like you
where
should
it's
give him an extra medal.
It's like, why don't you guys donate the money? You guys,
You're the one
forcing
that's telling me. I broke the guy's
the
jaw.
Las Vegas Gambling Commission is making me donate money.
Yeah.
Grass. He was high on grass. You're like, yeah, you should be on the mat.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He should smoke. He probably should smoke as soon as he gets back.
He
from
flew
the
into a
hockey.
rage. He was high on grass. You're like, you're fucking probably thinking about all types of dumb shit.
It's keeping me from killing you.
In 2001, Camille dies.
Are we jumping to 2001?
This is like 2000.
Galata's what?
Galata's
99?
99.
Yeah.
Wow.
In
Time, John.
2001, Camille dies. He's like, at this point of his life, he's paid for like a fucking grip of funerals. It's so fucked up.
Oh,
yeah.
He's
I think he paid for 2 for his dad. Like it's,
I mean,
Oh, his dad died twice.
yeah.
well, he has to stop burying people in Rolls Royces.
He's got to get rid of them somehow. It's a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
Then there's a situation where this, God, there's just so much like accusations and
I
This is
replaced
called
the
the
carburetor so you could drive to heaven.
in style. You know, it's got an angel wing in the front. Then there's the Kmart lady rape situation.
What?
Kmart lady. I don't know this one.
It sounds like an SNL sketch.
They meet a girl.
I don't mean to too late. No.
They were. I've been to this Kmart. They set up camp. I've been to this Kmart. They set up.
Aaron just, I'm gonna do my own investigation.
I wore a wig and everything.
I went there last week. It was closed.
So he sets up training camp in Big Bear. Oscar de la Hoya.
High altitude.
The Golden Boy.
And Big Bear's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Back in this day, the
water in the
Kmart
lake.
was the only game in town. I'll tell you that. Now there's all sorts of shit, but back then there's only the Kmart. So him and one of his security guys, Rick, they went to the Kmart because that is the only place in town.
It's the only game in town.
That's right. And there was an older woman. She was maybe about 50 or so. He says not exactly a looker, but well, it's Kmart. He says, and
Jesus Christ, Mike, you're not in prison.
then like she asks him for an autograph, and then she gives him her phone number, and then she shows up later, like to hang out, and
Jesus.
they had sex on the couch. Rick's watching, and then Rick fucks her too.
Oh my.
Like it's just some weird groupie shit, and then like Rick goes to the ER for something, and then she's there, and she's saying like she got raped.
Rick goes to the
ER or something. This is the most haphazardly put together story I've ever heard in my life.
It's just
What are you saying?
I'm telling you because I can only give you one side of this story.
Okay.
And I can't take it as gospel. So I'm gonna say like he went to the ER.
This is
and
what
then,
you've heard. This is what you know.
I'm not gonna put too much weight on one side without giving the other side a fair shake.
Okay.
This sounds like really bad, just from every angle.
Okay, Rick went to the ER because this guy Crocodile wanted to have something looked at. All right, and
I'm sorry.
Crocodile's another guy. Crocodile.
What about Gator?
No, there's no Gator. But Crocodile was a guy who was training Mike at the time. And Crocodile, we'll get to Crocodile.
Okay.
Crocodile had a history of a big, like, partying problem. So Rick took Croc to the ER, and this woman was there. And
Rick, I'm out of my mind. Is that a lady you had sex with not 45 minutes ago?
No, Rick, I'm just a crock.
Rick said, "What's up with that Kmart lady?" She says, "You hurt her." And then they went to Kmart to confront her the next day. It's like,
Oh.
then she starts throwing a fit in the Kmart.
Starts acting up in the mart.
And then you see the newspapers that like he's accused of this, that, and the other. But Mike's got this like killer lawyer at the time who's like mad well connected and whoa connected.
It's not Dershowitz.
And like he digs up all sorts of shit and he knows the law and he's like he makes things disappear.
I mean, this is also though Mike. This is Mike putting himself.
In really bad.
He's just making bad. He's surrounded by
Really
bad
bad.
people
Yeah.
and putting himself in situations he shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
And it's
Croc said it was okay.
and that's Croc.
He's not a gator.
He's just from the swamp.
Everybody's gonna betray me at some time. Oh, this guy's named Croc. Cool.
I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
He's completely forgotten the lesson that he's telling Larry.
there was
about.
stuff where like Mike missed a couple of calls from this girl. Then like he met up with her before the rapes, and then like she's like, I just need a new car type of thing. He was just, I don't want to ever like, doubt the veracity of certain people's accusations because they're serious accusations, but also like
Right.
if you put yourself in bad situations as a high profile man, you are exposing yourself unnecessarily to being exploited.
Okay.
Right? There are certain silver bullets on high profile men and you also don't want to doubt people's accusations when they're serious like that.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
it's
And
horrific.
also, I mean,
More rapes happen than false rape accusations.
Of course.
Can we
Yes.
just
Yes.
be very clear about
yes,
it?
is
yes. No,
absolutely true.
I think we always are clear about that on the show.
I just
But-
don't. I don't want to seem
but
like I'm
going to Kmart after
That's a bad.
real bad look.
bad look.
Real bad looks.
Totally. So
He's probably trying to take care of Gator Daddy or whoever's there.
he's got
Need
a
a
whole
cooler.
fucking spawn he's got to deal with or whatever.
Yeah, he's got to leave all his,
swamp to deal with.
He's got to put all the tadpoles in the cooler so they don't die.
Yeah, it's
That's not good. Not good.
there's just more to it. I just don't want to get into it because it's a whole swampy situation, and I'm only saying this to get to other things.
Okay. Yeah. Does he go deep into it in the book?
Yeah,
So he has the whole deal with Kmart, right?
yeah, and it's Circuit City with Pith.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like the reason I'm getting to that is that it goes away after his lawyer makes certain things about the evidence and the truth of the situation known, and it seems to disappear or at least go away or be abated. And then he's at his place in Vegas a few weeks later, no longer in Big Bear, and no, this is right after 9/11. This is like November 2001. And like they start hearing shit outside. They don't know if it's like, what the fuck, turn the TV down. And one of the guys goes,
fuck was that,
turn the fucking TV down. No shit. I think the Taliban are on the property.
No. This is the group he's with?
Yeah.
This is not a good group.
And they look outside of his Las Vegas compound and there's 100 SWAT guys with riot gear, camo, assault rifles,
It's not the Taliban.
grenades, and they're storming the property. They got huge battering ram tanks, and there are helicopters around flying, and they are like sieging Mike's property.
They're looking for weed, right?
And Mike goes out. Bin Laden is not here. We have nothing to do with that 9/11 stuff. Because he's like he's Muslim, and he's like, I'm sick of the Muslim.
Oh, shit.
Assalamu alaikum.
And the whole battalion was out there because they were investigating a charge that he held some young woman hostage and sexually assaulted her. And but like those guys were there for like 11 and a half hours. They were hanging out, ordering pizza, offering pizza to Mike and the crew and shit.
Yeah,
It's just
this is
weird.
what has happened with that complex. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's just this. There's so much to tease apart there.
Who made the accusation?
This woman.
Okay.
He doesn't even mention who it is.
And like, was she there?
Yeah, what's going
that is not the most interesting part.
Okay, so what is?
They start going through his place because he's like, half the time Mike is not even there, right? Or there are people staying there and Mike is not.
Right.
But there were accusations that somebody there held her up, right?
Well, I'm based on the people who's.
They went from 11 in the morning one day till 1 in the morning the next day, going through everything he had, seizing it, taking it as evidence. Like I said, they had a fucking pizza party. He had met some girl at a barbershop, but then like he left town and she was staying there with the other guys, and so he didn't really have anything to do with it. So then this kind of like, these things takes time. Like these type of cases takes time or whatever. So Mike, he's in New York later, and he's at this. Okay, let me give it a second.
I'm sorry.
He's got a fight coming up with Brian Nielsen.
Oh Christ! Is that the guy with the crew cut? I'm trying to remember. Anyway,
he's got
Dreadlocks, actually.
The timeline's a little fucked up, but he goes to see his pigeons in New York.
yeah, of course.
And he's at this like
Any news, fellas?
yeah. What's the word?
And if you
What's
win a
the word
race-
in the sky? He's at this barbershop, and this woman comes in. She's an FBI agent, but she's there to like get her like hair done or nails done or whatever. And she goes like, "Oh, I love your work."
Oh fucking Christ!
And it's in reference to all the seized sex tapes that he had. That she watched of all his sexual the belt, all this and the other.
Okay.
And like this, like it fucked up the whole case or whatever because he told his lawyer, and then like
He told his lawyer what?
that
That
this
she said
FBI
that.
agent told me she was a fan of my fuck films.
Wow. And,
Yeah.
and she meant it.
That the stuff that they confiscated at the Vegas property, it was just this weird thing.
I mean, the amazing thing about the FBI is that,
They can fuck anything up.
they'll let you in if you just don't do drugs.
Yeah.
So think of all the fucking idiots you know that don't do drugs.
You ever smoke reefer? You fucking piece of shit. God. And
So-
was she all like fucking like?
Yeah, she wanted to suck his. I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know. She was a fan of his work,
What's she doing in a barber shop either?
but like a salon.
Huh.
I mean,
Mike's just waiting his turn.
so Mike's got this fight. I jumped around a little bit. I'm sorry, but I just had to get to that. I'm a fan of your work.
I really enjoy your work.
They call you the woman. I like. Okay. So he's got the Brian Nielsen fight's supposed to be in like Denmark or something.
Nice.
And Crocodile's trainers he's on the flight with them to Copenhagen. And like Crocodile's the kind of guy that like parties for like 6 months straight, but then when it's training time, he cuts cold turkey and like is all business.
So he's trained too. He trains himself.
And
You're a bum, Croc.
That's what he's saying in the beer.
Crocodile's on the flight and he starts like throwing up and passing out and
Great.
shit.
That's a great trainer.
And,
That's what you want.
He OD'd on coke.
Oh
He OD'd on the flight. He spent days in the hospital when they landed.
Fuck.
My trainer's he's ODing right now.
And then like he showed up at the gym the next day and was like, "You ready to go, champ?" Like, he was just one of those kind of guys. And so he beats Nielsen, and then they party all over Europe for 2 straight months.
Oh no, that's not good.
So many bad choices.
I
I don't think Mike's making any choices. I feel
there's
like he's not making any choice. His choices are to make no choices.
no, I mean, he definitely chooses who he surrounds himself with.
He says that.
Okay, yeah. All right,
says,
that's
like,
fair. That's fair.
There's a big sex scene in Denmark with all the sex clubs and whatnot, but that was a little too crazy for Mike. He said their concept of sex over there in Germany and the Balkans was just too aggressive.
Oh, 2 convicted rapists. Good.
But I mean, Mike, O.J.
I'm a
Simpson.
convicted rapist. I'm an animal.
O.J. Simpson is an acquitted murderer.
What does that mean?
That the law is not necessarily the final word.
I am the law.
I am the law, and I am the Marquis.
I'm just saying.
Yes, of course. I know.
Yes, it's
Well, yeah.
aggressive. Aggressive?
Here's the point. The point is, it's too aggressive for a guy who gets paid to beat people up for a living.
It's BDSM, and it's a different type of sex.
love.
And, it's legal porno.
That's the line.
That's
That's the line.
That's
the line.
That is
Jesus
a real perfect
fucking
name.
COVID
huh?
barely
Christ.
18.
Legal porn.
He said
Jesus
crocodile. He said
Christ.
crocodile was going crazy over there in Denmark. He was fucking the promoter's daughter. And then he got a Palestinian girl in the bathroom of his suite, and he walked in on them.
What?
And he's like, "Hey, brother." And then he just tapped in, and they started tag teaming this woman. And then they just all started having sex with girls in this suite. And
Everybody's okay with it.
and then he hears one of the girls say, "I love you, crocodile."
No.
And then he goes, "How the fuck do you love?" I shouted from across the room, "How the fuck do you love him?"
He's on a lot of drugs
You've only
too.
known, yeah, dude. They are on so many drugs.
So Crocodile ODs on coke, trains him for a fight for a week, and then gets right back on it.
Oh, dude, and then they start fucking one of the female bodyguards that the Danish promoter hired.
Oh.
She starts wearing Mike's t-shirts around the suite and stuff.
I mean, I guess drugs are a hell of a drug. I don't
Drugs
know.
are a hell of a drug. And then they party, they just burn out partying from Amsterdam to Barcelona for 2 weeks after the whole crew goes back to the States.
You can see it on the map from the space station.
Yeah, it's one of those Indiana Jones maps, but instead of a blimp, it's like a cock.
Yeah.
Then he's just like, he doesn't have too much lined up right away. So then he goes to Jamaica. He parties at Damian Marley's place, and he's like, "This is the highest I've ever been." And he's like, Jamaica was like, everyone was warning me like not to wear my jewelry and shit. He's like, I didn't get robbed or anything, but it was pretty wild down there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In what way? Like in a crime way?
Just like partying way and like sexually, permissive way. And you got that sex book you were telling me about, like Jamaica.
Oh, that'll be in probably the next media episode.
He said the weed was just like top notch shit. But he was just warned not to be wary of the crime. But he was such a folk hero that nobody wanted to fuck with him.
Yeah, also.
And he'll beat them to a bloody pulp.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Part of the thing about Jamaica was that he went to one of these Jamaican strip clubs, and this is a guy who's got a voracious sexual appetite. He offered to pay a prison guard to have sex with
Well,
her.
voracious. Yeah, she had sideburns. Right?
Yeah, it was a shanty. And so he was like, he tells one of the guys, like, "How much do you think I could get this girl for?" And the guy's like, probably about 40,000. And Mike's like, "All right, well, maybe I'll take her." And he's like, no, that's 40,000 Jamaican dollars. That's about $20. He's like, "Clean this place out. Bring them all back."
Oh, no.
They shut the place down.
I mean, you mean like Mike Tyson? It's a great place. It's a great time to beach.
They shut the place down. And then he decided, "I'm going to spend New Year's in Cuba."
Well, we've all had that.
Spend New Year's in Cuba.
No shit. Is this like 2001?
Yeah, this is 2001. So, and as of this recording, I think Trump just put Cuba back on the terrorist sponsorship list.
It's really responsible. That's really helpful.
So he goes to Cuba.
That'll do it.
And he and
They don't even overrun their own capital.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we'll wait 3 months.
And so he goes to Cuba, and like people are just like, he meets certain people, and they're just like, "This is your wife now," like just throwing like marriage proposals at him. People who are living very modestly, offering their most prized like bottles of wine that they've kept in their family for 50 years.
Sure.
Do you think Crocodile will like this?
Do you have any raw chickens? So they had a bit. Somebody planned a big night out for them, and they went to the Copa Room at the old Hotel Havana Riviera,
Nixon used to be here.
which used to be owned by Meyer Lansky.
Meyer Lansky is the big guy that was down there.
That
yeah.
was his old place.
Yeah.
And now this was the problem here was that Mike caught the Montezuma's revenge down here when he had a lobster dinner that was boiled in maybe some unsavory waters, in his opinion.
He couldn't fight it.
He could not fight the Montezuma's revenge, and so he was puking up much of the day prior to this outing at the Riviera Hotel Club thing, and he was bringing this girl with him, and so he's like, my pants were loose because I hadn't eaten since that day before, and then my plumber's crack was out, and then paparazzi was there. I'm not supposed to be in Cuba as an American citizen. They didn't send my passport, but the paparazzi's there, and I'm on coke. So it's like I fought the paparazzi to like keep them from taking pictures of me looking all fucked up with my ass crack hanging out with his, and so like
He fought them.
He fought the paparazzi
And won.
Did he win?
Yeah, well,
He did?
he
Pictures
took their
come out?
cameras and ruined them and shit. But then he
What kind of old cameras are the Cuban paparazzi?
Oh, yeah.
Like some-
hold still for an hour.
Now I gotta light this.
Now
I
they can
gotta
get
light-
Chinese shit, right? They just can't get
true.
They just can't get cars or Coca-Cola Classic. And you know he has a bunch of sex and stuff, but he's like he's spending money. He didn't have he spent all of his American cash. He was giving away jewelry and stuff, but he's got some coke, and
Cool.
he had lost when he went to Cuba, he was probably about 265, 270 pounds, but he probably lost 30 while he was there because of the
dragons.
diarrhea and the coke and stuff. And so when he was on his flight back, he was mad paranoid, coke paranoid, and he's like, oh, I got AIDS. I got it. And he this is something that I haven't talked about too much, but much of his coming up in his life and stardom, AIDS was dominating the news, and he knew people that died
Dynamite
of AIDS.
time.
And he knew people that died of AIDS. So this was something that was always in the back of his mind, this kind of omnipresent threat.
Also, AIDS had the stigma of being gay, and he used a lot of anti-homosexual rhetoric.
Like what?
yeah.
Like when he said, fuck me till you love, when that type of shit?
Which
No,
we
but-
will get to.
Okay, well, let's get to it.
But also the stigma of being a black disease, etc.
He would say, he would say a lot of slurs.
He was like, I was fucking them, and I was fucking one of those strippers in Jamaica, and the rubber popped, and she freaked out. Maybe she gave me AIDS, but
I've got it, Croc. I'm telling you.
it's the cum croc. So he's
Fuck the one in the middle.
so I'm seeing through HIV. So
That's very
stupid. It's very stupid.
I just want to say,
Should we
both
clap?
you- Congratulations.
So
that's very
normally when he comes back from overseas, Homeland Security or TSA, the newly formed
this
shit,
fucking
he would. I mean, prior to most of his life, he never had to deal with TSA because it didn't exist.
good. Yeah.
And now he's a Muslim.
Now he's
from
a-
Cuba.
Exactly. So
And he's coked up.
and he's
And his
paranoid,
ass
and
is
they're
hanging
asking
out.
him all these questions like, why'd you go to Cuba? And he's like, did you spend money there? And he's like, oh, they only took America. And he's saying all the wrong things. But he's hamming it up like, is this because I'm a Muslim? And they just fucking let him through.
Really?
Yeah, they let him through.
Well, also
He's like, I like your ears
But
too.
he was still he'd go get an AIDS test. He got an AIDS. He went to get the test, but he was still paranoid. He was making calls to people saying I got it, you got it, I'm dying. This is my farewell. He was just losing his mind about having AIDS and just saying goodbye. And
the maniac.
he would get a negative test and be like, no, I tested again.
Trust me.
Yeah,
Trust me.
yeah, I got it. Trust me.
No, I
he had to
haven't.
get multiple negative tests for him to believe that
It's an HIV TKO.
You sound like Larry King when you say it like that.
Now, Mike, I understand you guys.
You're on the air.
I usually use protection, but I figured, when am I going to be in Haiti again? If you don't know that, that is from the Bad Idea Jeans sketch, which
From
is like
SNL.
I from SNL. Like
I usually use for.
usually use protection. I figure I'm gonna be in Haiti again.
Why not?
Bad idea.
It is so fucked up.
It's very
It's incredibly
It's very,
fucked up.
very-
So his next fight's Lennox Lewis.
Jesus Christ, I forgot he was even a fighter at this point.
Yeah, and
And he's British.
then there's like,
No,
dude, it's just
I
like
mean,
Mike's
Lennox Lewis, I mean, Mike
Mike's
Tyson.
doing a lot of coke. He's fucking losing his mind. He's running out of money, even though he's being paid exorbitant amounts. He's spending it out of control.
Yeah, there's fucking
Lawsuits, child support, Don King. There's so much fuck.
tigers, houses.
And so he has this press conference where like it just goes off the rails. I think he throws a fire extinguisher at somebody.
It's really bad.
And then somebody.
This is where he says I want his heart, I want to eat his kid.
This is when and Lennox Lewis is like this British. Like, Mike, don't do this kind of stuff.
Please,
And then like somebody in the stands goes, put him in a straitjacket. And then Mike says, somebody from the press. Put your mother in a straitjacket, you punk-ass white boy. Come here and tell me that. I'll fuck you in your ass, you punk white boy. You faggot. You can't touch me. You're not man enough. I'll eat your asshole alive, you bitch. Nobody in here
Sounds
can
hot.
fuck with me. This is the ultimate man. Fuck you, ho.
It's a lot of it's confusing rhetoric.
Come and say it in my face. I'll fuck you in your ass in front of everybody.
Oh,
Come
God.
on, you bitch. You scared coward. You are not man enough to fuck me. You cannot last 2 minutes in my world, bitch. Look at you scared now, you hoe. Scared like a little white pussy. Scared of the real man. I'll fuck you until you love me, faggot.
I mean, like, what if the reporter was like, all right,
Wait, he's gonna fuck me?
You want to fuck me in the ass in front of? Okay,
Wish somebody.
all right.
What if he was just like, very droll, Mr. Tyson?
What if you say so?
I suppose I'll take my trousers down and
Twist my arm if you must, Mr. Tyson.
It's been open.
You're the man dynamite now.
deepest apologies for not having a room to crash.
Indeed,
I just meant Montezuma. It's open.
Looks like you're getting your revenge now. Have you had recent AIDS test, sir?
Fill me up.
So, did everybody in his circle, everybody worth a damn in his circle? Shelley was like one of his person that would book his fights for him, this good woman, and Shelley Finkel. And she was like, well, Mike, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
You can't fuck that guy, Mike. Don't fuck
no matter
him.
how far you fuck him, you're not going to love him. You're going to destroy his man womb. And so like people were saying like you could be charged with threatening language and these type of things, and it was just not good. Las Vegas Police Department got involved because it's bad news. It's bad news. I told you the thing where he went back to New York to see his pigeons and all that.
I know you got to hearing a lot of shit about me right now, but I just want to let you know it's all bullshit, all
And,
right?
like, the Las Vegas, Nevada, like the officials voted like against him fighting there because of it, and that got
Yeah, the
pushed
very
off.
principled Las Vegas gambling
the
commission.
moral high ground of Henderson County.
Boxing commission, whatever the fuck.
So,
Scumbag.
then he went to Hawaii for training camp because
It's the
and is it-
Catskills of the Pacific.
well, it's like, this is bad. This is the best weed in the world. It was nothing good was going to happen. He was just smoking, getting away out of his gourd in Hawaii.
Chiefing it.
Smoking it, burning it, whipping, chefing.
Mm-hmm.
And he just wasn't motivated for the next fight.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I
I
wonder.
honestly feel something sort of lethargic.
But this is like then he had a press conference where he's just been like high on weed for fucking weeks.
I don't believe in fighting no
He goes,
more.
I'm just like you. I enjoy the forbidden fruits in life too. I think it's un-American not to go out with a woman, not to be with a beautiful woman, not to get my dick thucked. Just like what I said before, everybody in this country, the big fucking liar. The media tells people that this person did this and this person did that, and then we find out we're just human, and we find out Michael Jordan cheats on his wife just like anybody else. We all cheat on our fucking wife in one way or another, either emotionally, physically, sexually. No one's perfect. We're always gonna do that. Jimmy Swaggart is lascivious. Tyson is lascivious, but we're not criminally. At least I'm not criminally lascivious. I may like to fornicate more than other people, but that's just who I am. Like just getting.
Mike, I asked how you prepared for the fight. How did you? I'll take
I'm a big, strong N-word that likes to knock people out and rapes people and rips off people. I don't know nothing about being in the heavyweight champion. The only thing I know is how to fight. I am an N-word, right?
Mike, yeah, again, I just asked how you prepared for the fight.
I mean, just this.
Mike, in regards to your last thing,
But he
was that sarcasm or are you actually a big N-word that likes to rape?
We go to Mike in Honolulu. Mike,
you're certainly big.
what do you think about this Seinfeld reunion?
And then he goes like, he looking back, he's like, what was that Lenny Bruce talking about it? Like the way.
That's good.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
It's
There's
just.
no way that skeleton's gonna make it through COVID.
I've been to the Necropolis in Egypt. There's no way.
They're dying to meet him. Paul Newman's kid dying to meet Larry.
Meet him. I'm a vegan. He loses the Lennox Lewis fight. Famously.
Killer reach on Lewis, man.
Yeah, the guy's 100 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's a foot taller.
And speaks about himself in the third person and drinks tea. It's just a weird thing. He's got predator dreads. He does. But like after that, Mike
Are you
like
saying predator dread?
predator dreads.
Why did you say dread?
Dread.
Because they're dread braids.
Yeah. I
Very
made
good.
you out of.
Don't
Lennox.
judge my dreads. So he loses that fight and just kind of like tanks emotionally, and so he just like, I became Brownsville Mike again, and like he moves into Spanish Harlem, and he's like hanging out with bad people.
It sounds like though, like it honestly, it reminds me of when I've purposefully tanked. It sounds like he was just like, I'm gonna self-sabotage.
Yeah, punishment.
I need to hit bottom.
It's blowing off steam, but it's also punishment. It's also like no self-worth. I suck type of thing. I mean, he's hanging out like in drug dens where there's like, naked gutter hooker. Like,
okay, it doesn't fully remind me of when I've hit bottom.
Like he's doing drugs that like.
Wait, what?
Why is this hard to describe?
He's doing drugs that he says like, I did the shit and my eyeballs froze type of stuff. His divorce, his like second divorce finalized where he's $6.5 million of future earnings. He's got people saying like, come back to move to my house, and I'm good here in this drug den, this flop house. He's like really stewing in his own misery.
I didn't know you could lose future.
Yeah, that's how alimony works, man. And especially if you don't have current earnings.
Yeah.
Then he's got a fight with Clifford Etienne. We're just gonna blow it through because there's more. There's more, and we'll get through it. I promise. This is he's like I trained hard for this one. I don't know what it was. I think I kind of worked some stuff out by being a total degenerate. And Mike, if you're listening, I love you. I'm sorry.
Hey, he knows.
He knows. Okay. Yeah.
You wrote
You know what I learned in Spanish Harlem when I was in that crack den?
Thought
A lot.
So he got back into training hard again, and he came in at a lower weight than he did for the Lennox fight and a few fights before that. Like he got pretty svelte again, but not before he was at a party where somebody talked shit and somebody cracked a bottle of Dom Perignon over a woman's head.
Ooh, that's not a party.
So, anyways, so he's got this fight with Etienne, and he wins.
How does he? What's the?
This is the very. Oh God, you guys are gonna love this shit. What'll they get a load of this? This is the fight. Where I just need to find the right.
No, fine. I'm
page
gonna
here.
go find a beer.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. You're gonna like this. All right. Okay, you can hear it anyways, right? Yeah. Either he knocked the guy. He knocked the guy out, and he was countered out at Etienne, and he whispered something in Mike's ear after the fight.
ATN did.
Yes, Clifford at the end. And Jim Gray came into the ring to do the interview. And they said, he said something into your ear that nobody could hear. What exactly was that, Mike? To be honest, he said, you need to stop bullshitting, Mike, and be serious. You're not serious. That's why you're out here playing around. He said the truth. And Jim Gray said, and he's right, isn't he? Mike said, yeah, I'm just happy to be back in Memphis and give a decent show, and I'm glad Brother Clifford gave me a fight, and people don't understand the business. When you show your love and respect, et cetera, et cetera. And then Jim says, Mike, you're really sick this week. What was the problem? I broke my back. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
Mike, what do you mean?
My back is broken.
Like a vertebrae
Or
or
a portion. Spinal.
Oh,
You did that in sparring? No, I did in the motorcycle accident, doing 2,500 sit-ups a day, et cetera, so on and so forth. All praise be to Allah, et cetera.
Assalamu alaikum.
That's very interesting from ATN.
And he talks about needing the money.
Hey, man.
Always needing the money, people being parasites in his life, having to pay off a lot of shit.
I got future debts. Isn't that weird?
I owe money next year.
You know Mike Tyson in the future? He's broke.
If you see him, tell him he owes money.
So Mike's got, a lot of this money is going to pay off legal fees,
The 30 children.
Tiger fees.
all sorts of shit.
Upkeep on the fleet of Rolls Royces.
And so,
if you bury him, it saves.
after this, it kind of gets him in the black a little bit, but really his only, assets worth mentioning going forward are like this lawsuit with Don King.
Oh, to be a lawyer for Mike Tyson.
Oh, it's everyone's getting rich but him, right? And so, he's got this lawsuit with Don King, and the part of the lawsuit with Don King is like, listen, man, I just want a couple things. I want my one Bentley that you took from me, and the Stan Lee drawing with
Don King is a Stan Lee.
He's like, yeah, Don King had
is
my
the
fucking
worst
Stan Lee
person.
thing.
Oh, God.
Don King is just holding that to be like,
Oh, but dude,
I'm
it's
gonna
so
get him.
funny
I'm gonna
reading
get
like
him. I'm
in
gonna
the early days of Don King, like Mike was kicking him in the head and throwing him out of limos and shit. It is fucking hilarious.
yeah.
of course.
Treating him like the shit he is.
Don King is Ted Cruz.
There's
They're
one.
that type,
There's
same type of
an
person.
interview he gets up from next to Don, and Don
Yes.
puts his hand on him like, "Don't get up." And Tyson looks at him like, "Get your hands off me." And you know that
Yes.
he would fucking not hesitate at all to fucking just kick the shit out of him.
Yeah. No, Don King is a fucking snake. He will take and take and take, and then because he can't handle that shit. But
they were in the car one time after Don, he choked Don, threw him out. It's really great to read. I know Mike's coked up and being a real asshole, but like reading the way he talks about treating Don King like shit, it gives me such pleasure and joy, and I highly recommend it.
It's probably worth it. A Patreon profile.
Yeah, I'll get deeper into the rape conviction.
Well, I'm just saying Don King itself,
and some of the Don King abuse is really.
The many ass whippings of Don King. Only in America.
Mike files bankruptcy. It would seem like the right thing to do at this time because Don King weaseled his way out of paying the amount that he was sued for by Michael. Instead of like 20, it was like 12 or something like that, $1 million. Mike signs a promotion deal with K1 MMA fighting where he's now, despite being bankrupt, he's living for free at like hotels all over the world to show up to do promotion of events and stuff like that.
Hotel living is not that good.
He lived in Beverly Wilshire.
Where are the Tigers at now?
Hotels.
Liquidated.
Wildlife sanctuaries, rugs. He met Mike.
Cat lady mansion.
Tiger Queen.
Does the Danny Williams fight.
Oh, cry. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, and then there's the Kevin McBride fight.
Oh.
Which is embarrassing.
Another Irishman.
Mike just throws in the towel. He's like, I'm tired, I'm done. And
yikes.
he gives up fighting there. But it's also the part where Mike's like, now I can really party. I don't have to train for anything. I don't have to do anything. I've got these paid.
Which is insane because he barely had to train before.
He had to train,
but he wasn't.
in the second half of his career. And he's like, dude, I was doing so much. I would carry half a brick of coke with me places. He starts hanging out with this guy, Jeff Green. Jeff Green, he's
That's
like,
not a real name.
you wouldn't guess that we'd ever be friends. Jeff Green was this young Jewish guy who made $1 billion in real estate.
Huh.
And I am a young N-word from the gutter who made $500 million beating people to death. But they became friends, and like he's like, we just started traveling around the world on his yacht.
Jeff Green.
And so they had been friends for a minute, and after the Kevin McBride fight and a few months of just pure debauchery, Jeff charters a jet for Mike to go to France to party with him on his yacht in the Mediterranean, and Mike would just be on the jet ski, and then like around, having lobster Benedict with caviar, whatever, for breakfast, and then jet skiing around the yacht in the Adriatic Mediterranean, and then there'd just be like a bigger yacht for some Wall Street guy, and they'd be like, "Yo, Mike, I got a bigger boat than Jeff. Just come hang out over here." And then he would just go over there. He has a famous line: "I ain't nobody's for rent."
N-word.
N-word for rent, but still, it's pretty nice. Just jet skiing from yacht to yacht.
The celebrity is.
Yeah, and anything that anybody wanted was there. He said this. What is this, honky heaven?
That sounds about right.
Brick of coke I got seems to have gotten wet in the jet ski.
Yeah, and
That's a real real tragedy.
I bet you have more.
And then he was like, he'd be on these yachts, and so it would be like, real estate billionaires, finance, and then like Saudi princes would be there.
Yeah, be fucking like Dick Cheney guys.
Yeah, and then one of the guys was like, "Oh, Mike, I'm a big fan. My son almost paid $15 million to get you out of jail for raping that swine of a woman." And like in front of people that were like, nice people, and he'd be like, "Jeez, you fucking me up."
Yeah.
Dual
Fucking Iron Sheik.
Yeah. I'm Iron Mike. It was just so weird. There's a chance encounter where like there were these two yachts that were like, Jeff would see some like a Wall Street guy on the other yacht, and he'd be like, "Oh, Harvard 76," and the guy would be like, "Yeah, I think we both dated Clarissa."
And they're doing all of this through light signals. They're doing this.
And then Mike
Morse code
sees
thing.
some fucking bodyguard on the other yacht, and he's like, "Yo, what are you?" He was like, "Man, we did time."
No, that's so good. That's so good.
It's so weird.
Wow, bodyguards living the life, huh?
It's
C block.
and so
Indiana.
they are
90.
They're
Fritos.
They're on a yacht in the Mediterranean, Adriatic, Caspian, all these areas, right?
Yes.
And Mike tells him that I want to go like to the Balkans. I want to go to Ukraine because this woman that was one of my like drug counselor therapists lives in Moscow 4 months out of the year. And this is a woman named Marilyn, and Marilyn like he gives credit for Marilyn for like changing his life. Not at this particular moment,
sure.
but she is one of the people that helps like put him on the path to sobriety and stuff. And so they just make that happen. They just like go up. They just start sailing in that general direction. You're like,
Sure, Mike, whatever you want.
I'm in San Tropez, Maryland. I'll be there. And like up now, I'm in wherever.
Yeah.
Like he would call her at these other stops. Meanwhile, he's fucking railing lines.
Ah, Mike, we'll just go up the Baltic Strait. Yeah, that's the thing.
It's so crazy. What's this one? Okay, so then he makes his way and he up there and he meets with her, and he tells her like, "I just wanted to stay here and for you to be my mom," type of stuff.
Oh.
Because he knows like he's on a path of destruction.
Yeah.
On the highway to hell.
And like he,
You know AC/DC?
I want to believe. I think this is the time when he. This is not exactly it. Okay, but okay, I'll get to that. There's just so much to.
For those about to rock.
We salute you. He got into the Balkan states, and he said that's when it got really lawless, and like some real ass gangsters were there.
Yeah, they didn't even
he's
know
like,
who
everybody
Mike
we
Tyson
label
was.
gangster in the States is nothing compared to these Balkan guys. It's like straight up, it's the Wild West over there.
Mike Tyson.
He's like, they pretty much kidnapped me and wined me and dined me as their own just kind of like plaything.
Wow.
And I was like,
Yikes.
they were like, what do you do? He's like, do you have any cocaine? And they were like,
Yeah, we made it from potatoes
we
yesterday.
they don't do it, but they made a call. Guy bought a big old brick.
Oh no.
And like he made them all do it, and he's like, these guys wouldn't stop fucking talking. They'd never done cocaine before. It was so annoying. He's like, I turned the fucking Romanian mafia on to blow. It's a nightmare.
Oh my god.
So he's fucking up international diplomacy.
Yeah, he's getting. I mean, he's taking down crime syndicates.
Yeah. He goes, they kidnapped me. Then I kidnapped their whole organization through the sheer
addiction.
charm of a South American
Of that white girl.
A plant, man.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Then they're like they're taking him around to places and like just there's like
Mike,
before we go to dinner to check this, and they like, here's dessert, and they open a suite and there's like girls on a bed, and they're like, oh, we're gonna skip dinner and go to dessert.
We want what
And
you
he's like,
thought.
at this point, I was doing a lot of cocaine. I discovered Cialis. So it's like he would just have Cialis, take cocaine all the time.
Which one's Cialis?
Now Cialis is
The
the
boner
weekender.
maker.
Is that the boner? It's a boner maker?
It's a boner maker pill. Wow, very nice way to play like you don't know what that is.
I don't have a bathtub on a fucking. That's the one with the bathtub on the fucking outcrop thing, right?
Yeah, Aaron's
He
in all of his 5 cars, he's got a fucking ashtray full of them.
I don't need it. I don't want it.
You should get it.
Do I need it?
Do you like boners?
can I have it?
I love mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
Gross.
Well, just haven't seen another boner I like.
Then he said he met some more real ass mobsters because of his interest in pigeons.
Oh, that'll do
In
it.
Ukraine,
I hear you like butter.
he says, I went to this dude's place in the
Eagles?
countryside whose pigeon coop was bigger than my house in Vegas.
That's what the countryside's for.
Don't act like you're not shocked.
No, come on. You know how big that fucking house was. That
It's like 13 kitchens.
13 kitchens? Come on.
You guys don't know about the gold standard living of pigeons.
Of Western Massachusetts.
Yeah, so the Ukrainian pigeons, they're like, we have 26 kitchens.
Then he runs into Chechen politicians that he actually met while partying in Saint-Tropez, but like they were totally changed their demeanor because they were on official business.
All the
And then he just
spray
like,
gold tan is
Dude, then he's like, "Oh, you're my Muslim brothers, right?" Like, so he plays up his Muslim thing, and they're buying it.
Assalamu alaikum. Do you have any cocaine?
Dude, they take him around. He meets the president of Chechnya,
Yeah.
whose dad was just like assassinated, and they made him the leader. They have him show up. I mean, if anyone like at this time, like they're like, if you're an American, do not go to Chechnya.
Absolutely.
No, but if you're Mike Tyson.
But they take him. And he opens up a new soccer stadium.
Yeah.
and
He's like,
he
this
loves
place
soccer.
sucked. There were no stores. There was no cocaine.
Yeah.
I went back to Moscow as soon as I could.
Yeah.
Um,
He informed on all of them. He's like, you can find them here. I built them a stadium. It's called the Tyson Sports Extravaganza.
It's Tyson's Memorial
Yeah.
for some reason.
There's no stores.
No, in the late 90s, early 2000s,
Bad news.
it was
I mean,
the
they
most
just bombed the
savage,
fuck out of it. And
savage insurrection and state fucking reperepercussions were just
Well-
equally, if not more so, like just completely brutal.
Well,
It was really rough, but also you're landlocked by Russia.
Yeah. Well,
Like this is not going to be a successful.
we haven't done much about what happened when the Soviet Union fell apart. There's a lot of
There's a lot
there.
to unpack there. Yeah.
that's quite a bit. So he goes back to Moscow because Chechnya is.
No coke.
I mean, he was like, I was treated well,
stores.
but like it's only well you could be treated.
There was snow, but the wrong kind.
The stadium.
It was melting. So he goes back to Moscow and he just wants to see Marilyn and Marilyn. Marilyn was accompanying him through most of Russia and Ukraine up until the Chechnya part. So she was like dying, going all these, high class type of shits. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to your place," and she lives in what he considers like a really dilapidated, tenement
She's a
building. He's like, it
regular
reminded me
person.
of the place that I grew up in, and she just wanted to be close to the people that she was there helping. She would go there for 4 months a year and help people who were dealing with trauma or drug addiction there. And so she has him come to one of these support groups. And he tells his sob story and shit and shares it.
His sob story.
I mean, he had a fucked up life for much of it.
But at this
for
point,
the beginning. But yeah, at this point. But then he's like, well, and after he gave that story, they all felt more at ease, and it was mostly women.
Sure.
And he said there was this woman sitting next to him who told her story, and her father was a Russian military officer, and their home had been blown up by some terrorists when they were a baby, and her father died saving her life, and she had been severely burnt in the attack, and now her hands were stubs, and she had scars all over her body, but now she was the head of the counseling psychology department for Moscow State University of Psychology and Education, and the woman says that here I am, a psychologist, but nobody has ever been to help me deal with my pain, all the psychological pain, the loss of my dad, and I feel like I've waited my whole lifetime for Marilyn to come and help me, and now I know how to deal with this pain. And then she started crying as she talked, and Mike got down in front of her on the floor and started just like holding her hands, and was just like holding her hands and crying into her hands as she talked, and worshiping her, like this beautiful scene of this giant, killer.
Well, he uses his hands to hurt people.
Yeah, and he's holding what's left of her hands and just like weeping.
We
into
can stuff these with mozzarella, man. We can fuck people up with this.
I took out a couple of Irish motherfuckers with the meat. Yeah, and it was just he said it was like a really that thing that put everything in a perspective for him, but also like let them know that he wasn't a total monster.
Right.
It was supposed to be a 2-hour session, ended up being 6 hours.
And just, seeing, real drastic problems and Russia was really great for him.
Wow.
A lot of treated like a king, but also seeing kind of like the other side of how the other half lives. And then he just was still a druggie for a long time. That didn't stick.
Well, what happens is you put it into your head and you go,
I atone.
and then you go, oh, Croc? Croc is still here? Okay. And then you go through Croc, and then after you go, okay, now it's time. Now it's time for me to actually learn the lessons.
Right.
So and he didn't learn shit. He started just being a full-on druggie. He went back to the States and just had a routine where it was like I'd wake up at like 8, I'd eat something if I could, I'd get in the shower, I'd be ready by 10. Somebody would come and bring Coke over. He would like
he would take a shower to do Coke.
No, like, and when I say 8, I mean PM.
Yeah.
So like that, he was sleeping all day.
I'm gonna do Coke
partying all night. Then the Coke would come. He said, like, if I did an 8-ball a day, that was a good day. Like I wasn't doing a lot.
Presumably, this is good Coke.
Yeah, and it's good Coke.
Presumably. You don't know what Croc
he would go, like, he just started hanging out, like, with, like, there's a certain crew you're with that you see out in Vegas or in any city when you are only out from the hours of 11 to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
There's just a different side of society. It's the same people, like pimps, hustlers, high rollers, drug addicts, drug dealers, hookers.
Yeah. Right.
And
whoever we're going to see in Vegas when we go.
Hell yeah, now that we're immune.
It's the 11 to 6 a.m. crowd 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Now, yeah. He said, all I need is a hoe and some blow.
Oh.
Strip clubs would like have private bathrooms for him. Where he like, cause he was getting kicked out of a lot of places for just he would have a bag of Coke and just have a straw in it. And be just sniffing it that way.
Jesus Christ!
And he would just have his own private bathroom to do Coke and fuck in.
No way.
Eventually, his nose, like he just snorting it wasn't enough, so he just started packing cigarettes with it.
Yeah,
and smoking Coke.
We talked about that with Steve-O.
Yeah, like it's not smoking crack. He was smoking Coke.
Yeah,
which is fucked up. It smells like shit. It's not good. Like
what happens?
Steve-O was saying he's like he
emptied
edged
almost all the
tobacco. He goes, he packs in Coke, and I'm thinking, this fails. This is not going to work, right? This thing's going to come all wet and liquidy. He goes, never does. He goes, he smokes it. He just packs it like a cigarette full of coke. He just smokes it. And he goes,
A cigarette full of coke.
cigarette full of coke. He smokes the whole thing, and then he's like, we're in talk mode in the bathroom. He goes, he goes, as soon as I was out of coke, he goes, it was time for me to leave.
Yeah.
So he had to walk out of the bathroom.
No, Steve-O
That's what I
leaves
mean.
the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I walked in. He goes, you got any coke? And he puts his arm around me. We go to the bathroom, and he goes, that was the whole experience. He just did it on the hot boxing.
And Mike didn't even remember it.
So,
Mike didn't remember this at all.
Right. But what's the difference between smoking coke and
I have
crack?
no idea. I'm sure it's
So
not.
crack it's freebase,
Yeah.
and it's more able to be smoked, and it's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You don't chop
it's not
up
a
crack
powder.
rocks and snort it.
But there's a lot of bad shit in crack.
Yeah, and it's I mean it's
Not like the good
highly,
shit in coke.
You refine all the shit. Smoking coke. I don't know why he did it.
Right.
I think because his nose was getting fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, and you can do
Right,
it,
right.
but like,
I mean, I know.
it's not the. I mean, proof it. Just proof it.
I've known people that sprinkle it on a joint.
Yeah,
and I don't know what the
guess.
fuck the point of it is.
Well, I mean, it'll do something.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what it
But
does.
I mean, if you're gonna smoke coke, smoke crack. It's the way. I mean, it's just.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Yo, what's the way to do alcohol? Here's the way to do vodka. Rub it on your scalp.
No, I sit.
It's not the right.
I sit on the bottle and I do a handstand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sting does.
And the crowd cheers.
So he
Roars.
Well, not a crowd these days.
we're on the. We're wrapping.
Cusping?
Yeah, we're on the cusp of tomato.
Can I break to pee?
Yeah, super.
We'll be right back, folks. And we're back.
God.
Oh, and we are entering the final stretch.
We're cusping.
Yeah, Cuspin Glover. Crispin
Yeah.
Glover? Smoking a lot of coke. Just being a real degenerate.
Rolling fatty, smoking blunt. Doing.
Dude, then he's like partying in Phoenix.
Oh, that's rough. What
Kids
about
like-
Reno?
No, Reno.
Biggest little
Janet?
Phoenix?
Joaquin?
Phoenix?
Joaquin?
What the fuck is in Phoenix?
Dude,
No offense to
nothing
Phoenix,
good.
but fuck off.
he's like partying with like these like this doctor guy, and he's like,
No.
dude, this doctor was a maniac,
No.
plastic surgeon in Phoenix.
Plastic.
And he
God.
he was like, man, he had everything. Like he had the best coke, and then like he'd also have like
he didn't.
Viagra and good weed. So like he had a different table set up around me for everything that I needed. And like one time, I was coming down real bad, and I told him, Doc, I don't feel so good. And then he wheels out this IV, and it's like needle in his arm. I was like, what's it? And he goes, morphine. So
Oh
he's
my
like
God.
he's shooting Mike with morphine for coke come downs and like, man.
I got a girl coming in here tomorrow. I'm turning into Peter Pan. She's gonna look nuts. You seen Spider-Man 1? The Green Goblin? That's what she looks like.
You know the plastic surgeon in Escape from L.A.? You see that new video by The Weeknd?
You like those Burger King commercials with the king?
I'm him.
That's what this broad looks like, champ. With the beard and everything.
Interesting. Then the FBI gets in contact with him again for some guy that he knew named Dale Harsher. There's a picture with him and Dale at this one like event, and he's like, I don't really know the guy, something wrong. And he's like, no, the guy likes you. It's just that all those people you were with, he killed. This guy Dale Harsher murdered like 8 people around in Mike's circle, and they wanted to ask him. I mean, just
That's
life
not good.
hack: don't be friends with people.
Well, I mean, here's we've reached to this point of Tyson, which is something that started happening as soon as he started hanging out with
Crocking them.
presumably Don King.
Yeah.
is that everybody said I want to hang out with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And then when Mike Tyson's 40, the people who want to hang out with him are the scummiest of the scummiest people because
I don't think
plastic surgeon in Phoenix who has every drug.
But I don't think that
Mike Tyson's a trophy.
But it's that.
to him.
But it's that Mike Tyson is willing to hang out with them.
Yes, Mike Tyson, that is absolutely an issue. But there are people who say, like that plastic surgeon from Phoenix who says, I'm going to have Mike Tyson here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but yeah, if you go straight from basically juvie to the world championship, you go like, well, who am I to say that anybody's a scumbag? Right?
Right. No,
so your standards are going to be very different.
I'm not saying Mike Tyson has no fault here. I'm just saying the people around him are now the scummiest of the scum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
also everybody in the world wants to hang out with Mike.
You're also, everyone does, but it's also Mike on his way down. And so it's like the caliber of people that are there on your way down, or like, you know, he's not hanging out with David Bowie and Barbara Streisand anymore. Not that I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, but even people, like, let's call it the way down. And now he's obviously much more buoyant. What he has to offer now in both eras is the same. A lot of it is stories and perspective.
Right.
And he could have indulged that, what he's doing
and
now.
Access to drugs and women.
That's going to always be there no matter what.
Well, you assume if he is there, it's going to be there.
Right. So now, you know, he's like selling his likeness to like Japanese slot machine companies. Like, $800,000. They let them use my likeness on a Plinko machine.
Mm-hmm.
I charge him an extra $100,000 for not letting to use anything but black trunks because he always wore black trunks.
Right.
So he's like, you know, doing exhibition fights at the Aladdin, and he weighs 300 pounds, and you know, we scrounging for capital.
That's bad.
Paranoia because of the cocaine use. I mean, like I said, if it was an 8-ball day, it was a slow day, a good day.
I can't even like
it's.
It's imperceptible. I can't even imagine.
He's hearing cuss in his head.
Of course he is, because he's been hearing someone saying, stop.
You're a bum.
Yeah. You're a tomato can filled with Coke.
Tomatoes stink.
I mean, Rocky came out before he was even a fucking champion.
A zygote. No, somebody's serious going off.
Somebody's?
Mine.
He said zygote, and his sperm alarm came
What?
She's going, sorry, we don't have tomato cans.
You can't come in here.
So, and then he gets arrested in Phoenix.
Oh, no, you should never be arrested in Phoenix. God damn it.
And he's got like coke on the center console.
And it's a convertible too.
It's just bad news. And so, but first time drug offenders, even with like, you know, felony rape convictions, you get like mandatory like treatment first before any sort of like jail time. Maryland's involved. Maryland gets him sent to various rehabs, sex addiction counseling as well. I mean, he's doped up on meds. Depakote, Neurontin, Zyprexa, Abilify, Cymbalta, Wellbutrin XL, Tricor, Zocor. He balloons up to 360 pounds.
Oh my God.
You just said the phrase that unlocks a plastic surgeon doctor in L.A.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think that's the phrase. If you open the book, you awaken the army of the dead.
That's to keep me from killing y'all.
And Tricor begat Zocor. Begat Depakote, and begat Neurontin.
And Viagra begat Cialis to live for 70 years. Those are Equus jokes.
That's right.
That's Equus jokes.
You like that?
Oh, John loves it.
I love it. Other people, less so. Don't you start.
Enjoyed it.
Don't you start.
I respect it. Is that okay?
Get ahead.
Save it for
Get ahead.
Patreon.
No,
Yeah,
dude, I'm gonna fucking save it.
Save it.
I'm gonna say. He balloons up to 360 pounds.
Oh, no.
Things are not good for Mike.
That's bad.
He's doing a lot of cocaine.
I could have been a contender. He's at that level.
Oh, dude.
It's that whole fucking joke about Lenny Clark at the roast where they're like, I've never met a fat person who was addicted to cocaine.
Yeah.
360?
Dude, it's fucked up. And but also it's all these pills too.
Yeah, all the other shit, dude.
Gets The Hangover, motion picture,
Yeah, what
Damn.
year would that be?
2008.
Really?
9ish and 2008 I think. And
That was a long
That's
time
amazing.
ago.
It brings in the Tigers.
oh, and it's got the In the Air Tonight,
In the air tonight,
which was
too.
he talks about having played through his head in his
Yeah.
first big fights. He's doing coke during all this, but like everybody was really accommodating to him. But he's still doing. He's a drug addict.
No, this is where
He's also starting to work on.
G.G. Allen and Mike Tyson crossover through Todd.
Oh, Todd Phillips. Yeah.
Yeah.
And presumably some piss drinking or something. I don't know. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
His daughter dies in like a freak
It's so sad.
blind blind
it's
treadmill accident.
Incredibly sad.
It's so sad. But he's this documentary is being released that he was in, and then
I saw him walk out of a document, like an interview around the time of his daughter dying, and he's not being dramatic at all. He's just like, man, I just can't talk anymore.
yeah.
And he just goes upstairs, and like his entourage is all around, whatever, and like it's just, I really felt for him so fucking hard. This is like
Yeah.
a little 3-year-old girl. She's on a treadmill. She gets caught in like the string that holds the
Yeah.
blinds up, and like
And it just
it kills you.
Yeah.
It kills you.
yeah.
Uh
And he would go in and out of a bunch of different rehabs, and then got a cleaner, became a vegan for a minute, now just like vegetarian, doesn't drink, just smokes weed as far as we know. Did that one-man show that toured around the country.
Spike Lee directed
Yeah.
the special, yeah.
And then apparently he met the Toad.
Oh, yeah.
We discussed that.
The DMT,
DMT,
Toad and the Tyson Ranch.
Ever see the Toad, Tom?
Got a very popular podcast, Hotboxing with Mike Tyson. Just had a fight that we watched on his new promotion
Right.
network.
And he had Evander over.
Yeah,
And
a couple of times.
a few
I mean,
times.
Evander's such a good dude.
He's a class act.
He really.
He is, man. Like I listen. A lot of those guys, and Mike included too, like they are macho dudes,
Wait.
They can get philosophical, but they're also, don't forget, these are very prideful people. It's very hard to go and make amends with the guy that bit off pieces of your ear and spit it on the floor that you had to have replaced with your stinky ass.
There's an understanding. There's an understanding there. Even he fought Razor Ruddock twice in the same year.
Yeah.
And even after the first fight, he goes over and he's trying to, and him and Razor are like, oh yeah. After the second fight, after the fight is over, they seem like they're best friends. They're like, dude, it's the Mickey Ward, Turo Gotti shit where it's like two guys who are professionals understand what you're doing there, why you're here, even though you've gone through some shit.
That was a thing. I think maybe it was.
They're trying to kill each other.
Somebody said the most peaceful room you can be in is a room full of fighters. It was one of the greats said that. But they were just saying like these are all people that don't have anything to prove because they don't fucking need to.
And they've just
But that was also part of the bullshit that I hated with heavyweight boxing towards the end was. I'm gonna eat your heart. I'm gonna eat your children, and then he's the best man I've ever met in my life. After the fight, it was like one of those things. You're like, oh, well, you come on.
yeah,
then.
it became a lot
Absolutely.
of it became a little bit of wrestling shit.
Yeah, the weigh-in was always needless. Like if it didn't end in a scuffle, who would watch the fight?
Well,
they did really start doing all the shit that Ali said about wrestling.
Yeah.
Ali said he's like I fucking went to a boxing fight. He's like nobody was there. He goes I went to a wrestling match. He goes the fucking guy was talking about ripping the other guy's heads off. He goes and then all of them were there. He's like
Yeah.
that's when I started talking shit.
Yeah, and now they do that at the Capitol.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the next. So, Mike you know, the second half of Mike's career and still
Life.
and current life,
Still love
it really is crazy. I mean, there's just so much.
He couldn't live through this.
This can't
Be Roots.
but it is.
It is.
But and then you know and then he just got back into shape and fought again, and it's like this guy has done a small country's worth of coke.
Sure.
The stress the guy has been, you know, just so much, and still like, you know, it gives me hope for I had COVID and maybe my heart won't, you know, disintegrate or whatever.
Partially, I think also he was keeping stress off a lot because he was just like
Nutting a lot.
No, I think he was also like usually worried about like you said, pleasing somebody. But he was never worried about, like I said, about the fleet of Rolls Royces. He was never going like, where are those cars? Who has them?
Right, exactly.
I mean, Ed Lover has the fucking Bentley.
And, well, I mean, it's just all that coke and all those drugs.
Well, no, I mean, heart
ju-
disease
I'm
will
just-
kill him.
For sure. I'm just saying, stress-wise, I think there's a lot of stuff that he didn't stress about that other people would have.
Oh yeah, he paid other people to stress about it. It's just I know it kind of blew through the later half of his life, but it's less
He's not
mythological.
fighting-
It's
yeah,
just
it is.
crazy.
It
like
is.
the stuff with just going around to, you know, partying for months and months
Yeah,
and months and
fucking
months
jet ski.
on
Yeah,
end.
it's not really super compelling. I'm sure if you're there, it's the most fun in the
Oh
world.
yeah, it's
Or I mean,
and it's a lot better than being
bored.
a greeter at Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
You know,
Or Kmart.
with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Like a lot of his heroes ended up being, right? Like
Sure.
or like raising another fighter.
But I think for him too, it's a thing of always burn it down and start again. It's you gotta
Yeah.
hit rock bottom.
And more than anybody, he is a living folk hero and cultural icon more than certainly any fighter and maybe anybody else alive. I mean, Mike Tyson Mysteries. Like he had a cartoon.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
a video game, and he's been in other movies in other countries.
But a big thing too is to run is one thing, to govern is another. And, being the champ is, you can set yourself up with like to take my rightful place as Alexander and all that nonsense. But you go like, it just takes a lot of the fire out once you have it.
Of course.
So from the first time he gains the championship, and then Cuss is gone. Cuss is not there to tell him how to govern, right? And so I think forever after more, he goes, well, the comforting thing to me is the climb.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos is
Climb
the
is
ladder,
all there
right?
is.
The climb is all there is. And, now it makes me think about even in that quote, you go like, okay, well, what about when you get it?
Well,
What about when you get what you want?
Well, because
Are you be able to handle it?
for him coming up, and I'm just talking my ass and just taking a guess here, but maybe he never thought, what if I get it? Cuss is the one who defined the ladder. He's just the guy who climbed it. And when he gets higher up in the ladder, without Cuss, he doesn't know, what should I get at the top of the ladder? Cuss is the one that said, you are the guy, you're doing this. Forever, he was searching when he was young. He was someone to tell me, what am I going to do? Well, who am I? What am I going to do with my ability, whatever it is? And Cuss defined him and turned him into a thing. And then Cuss leaves. And then Don King says, you're the greatest partier in the world, right? And then he's like, okay, well, I guess I'll do that.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that, Mike in later years when he talks about Tom and stuff, is like being the most, I think I'll be able to remember the most ferocious, fight, like, which is what started us on like Tyson Mania. I think was that even before we had profiles that we were doing that? It's very around the same time, but like, it's a thing too where like you're looking at legacy, right? And I've heard like younger fighters that are like when they reach the top, they go like immediately they're like, okay, they do have better hands on them, and there are people going like, well, no, you train younger fighters,
Right.
You do legacy,
Right.
because legacy does matter, and it doesn't just matter in how good you fought in the time you did, but it's like what you did as a champ. And how you behaved as a champ, like becoming king of the hill, is it's all there is. And you go,
It's not-
okay, well now why are you here?
It's not the be all end all.
Why did you want this? and you go like to say I had it once.
And then what?
Exactly.
There's never a plan. There's never a plan for what happens after
And
you
that's
kill
the
the
same
king.
thing. That's the same that happens in The Wire too, right? They go like, okay, there's a lot of people that wore the crown.
What they do it.
They didn't wear it long,
Right.
and they're like, okay, yeah, but you got to get it, and they're like, yeah, but you don't understand what I'm saying. Everybody can get it, then you'll lose it, and you'll be dead. So like, what are you gonna do with when you have it?
I mean, every kid has played King of the Hill. Right?
Yeah.
The game King of the Hill.
Right.
And the whole point of the game is to be on top of the hill. No one ever talks about what happens after you're on top of the hill.
Right, and how to maintain the hill, make sure everybody below you is happy, But I think that is a thing that, it ensures the legacy in a way that's great. Like in the way that I do know that about Evander Holyfield, not being a big sports nut. I know that Evander Holyfield gave a lot back to the community. I know that Mike is giving a lot back in just kind of like wisdom in a crazy, crazy, crazy life, and has attained and maintained a pretty sharp perspective for a guy that could easily see only convenient illusions. Insulated by money, insulated by yes men. He still sees a lot of things that people that would listen to him go, oh, that's very, very truthful.
And also he could very easily be completely jaded and cynical
Yeah.
on the other side. And I think that's the thing that's most impressive to me about Mike is that he's kind of found this middle of the road peace with himself in the world where it's not everyone's out to get me or I'm surrounded by yes people. It's kind of this, all right.
Also, he's interested in other people. He's interested in other struggles.
He's still incredibly curious.
Yes, and he finds other people interesting. He finds other philosophies interesting. He's always, kind of interested in attaining logic. It's not as if he's not doing Rick James. He's not going around going, I'm Mike Tyson, I'm Mike Tyson.
I think that's I don't know if lucky is the right phrase, but it
is lucky.
It is nice.
It's lucky for us.
It's like it is nice that he is in that place where he is now, and
it's
open.
really great to see that he didn't OD and he didn't hurt anybody else or himself,
Right.
and that it seems like he's come out the other end
quite well.
Yeah,
and so he's had this long-term, weed ranch project in the works that we said is
I think generating money.
Even without COVID, it was not even supposed to be open until like 2022.
Yeah, but I think branding wise, it's making money.
And so then we did commentary on the on Patreon for the match against Roy Jones Jr. And then we kind of found out like, oh yeah, he bankrolled the whole thing. It was called a draw. I was kind of like, all right, well,
it was more of a carnival act than really a fight.
It's an exhibition thing.
It's fine.
It's an exhibition, of course.
It's fine.
We knew that.
Yeah,
we knew that.
Exactly. Yeah.
We didn't know one of the fighters was producing it.
But it was all worth it to hear Snoop Dogg.
It really was.
Get him, Roy!
It's like watching my two uncles fight.
It's
It
great.
was really fun.
It's great. And you know what? I wanted to see Mike Tyson another time, and to throw some punches. And
Yeah, and also it was cool to see him not get fucking carried away with it.
yeah.
I am glad he's doing well. I think he's trying to improve always.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Just fucking had a long time to fuck around, and he did. But now I think he's actually, really, and he's still very glued into fighters in MMA too.
Yeah.
When he talks to Rogan about boxers and MMA fighters, he's got great analysis of anything that's going on in fighting in general. And he's really still very interested in it. And he's never really talking about himself.
Right.
On that podcast, it's people that come with Mike Tyson stories. But Tyson is very, very interested in talking about other things. I mean, I saw him in the fucking the Birdman box thing on Amazon, which is a program I don't know how it was made or why for any reason whatsoever. It's a half.
Which you could say about most Amazon.
No, I'm not joking. No intro. Birdman Boxing opens up Mike Tyson
Okay.
at a competition pigeon farm in the UK.
Okay.
And then these guys are talking about the pigeons and how they do the coops and everything, and he's going around with them, and he's going with his friend. He's like, why aren't you recording with your camera? And he's like, we've got the guy here doing. He's like, oh, okay. And like, he doesn't notice there's a
They
camera
show
there.
that too.
Yeah, they
It's
show.
like, you gotta-
No, it's completely unedited, and he's just talking to these Brits about pigeons for a half, and then it ends. They go in there and they're taking pictures with him, and he's talking about other fighters and stuff. But he's so much more interested in talking about pigeons
Yeah.
and other fighters.
Sure.
And he's not talking about, let me tell you about fucking.
Well, yeah.
Sphinx.
I mean, every fucking party he went to for the last 40 years, people were like, "Tell me about
But
this." tell me about this.
I think it's also just not stimulating to him, and I think
Well, I mean, that's what I mean.
his
yeah.
curiosity is really, you know, it's about you so much more, and that's something I really do like about him.
It's a very
With your show,
it's a very human trait, I think, to want to tell a story. And
I don't think
sometimes it's about you, sometimes it isn't. But I think it's
well, yeah, there's sharing things based on your experience, and
especially as you get older, you want to tell a story.
for sure. But people that do want to talk about themselves a lot, I find, are the least interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to subscribe to Patreon to hear us talk about ourselves.
No, but I think he doesn't want to, and obviously everybody wants to hear it. But he's caught up in curiosity about other things and other ways people, I guess, conquer the world, and it, you know, and that I love that.
Yeah.
Just hearing him talk about the pigeon stuff and the messaging and like you know how they they were talking about the way they clean the coops for the younger pigeons. They're much more loose about it to enhance their immune system. Older pigeons, you know, much more cleaner.
Right.
And he was talking about having conveyor belts like of shit going and stuff. It was amazing. But yeah, I think he's also the one around all these people that are very impressed by him, where he's going like, what about that fighter? And like, what about this? And like, he's just engaged in things that aren't about him at all.
Yeah.
Right.
And I really do like that about him a lot. He's, you know, a definitely pop culture folk hero.
Absolutely.
But I think the closest thing we have to a living folk hero or mythological figure.
Yeah.
I can't think of
And a very like, I'm not good, but I'm not bad. Kind of.
But I am trying.
Verdict on himself.
Well, yeah, life is not one part. There are acts.
there are many Mike
many
Tysons.
acts. There are many acts to Mike Tyson's life, and
Yeah.
the
Hope there are
first
more.
one doesn't mean the second one, doesn't mean the third one doesn't.
Yeah. Hopefully, you know, in years to come, we do a round 3 of Mike Tyson,
Where he's here.
where he's here, and
And John's queer.
yeah,
And me too, probably.
Why not?
For Mike?
and we have beers, you know.
Mike did say he would fuck someone in the ass in front of a whole
Hey,
group of
he
people.
doesn't. He doesn't have to fuck me until I love him.
To make me love him.
But I'd love it if he did.
Aaron, that was excellent.
That was fantastic.
I love me some Mike Tyson.
That was,
Yeah, the later your stuff also too. Yeah, it's great just how unexplored it is and
Yeah,
how weird it gets.
it's the least documented and the least
Yeah.
glorious.
But I did the whole seeing the whole path makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah, and it was also just really. It was just hidden in plain sight. This horrific drug addiction and debauchery that.
Well, yeah.
You know, especially even in the years when he came back with the Hangover, and like, oh, dude, he was still fucking fucked
still
up.
fucked up.
They're not
Fucked
talking
up.
about that in The Hangover.
No.
Well, also it's Vegas. They're kind of like into that.
I know that's
Yeah.
an assumption, but fucking like people who aren't from Vegas, all like Midwest,
Yeah.
East Coast, all the people who go to Vegas, like
Yeah.
or think about going to Vegas, they're not thinking about insane coke addiction.
No, they're doing meth.
Yeah. It's nice and cheap.
Hey.
All right, let's fuck off, fellas. I'm very glad to be back.
I'm glad to be back.
This has been great. I'm gonna say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
My name is Aaron Pita.
Matt Bruno.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Starburns Audio.